Lord, I hope she had panties on.
What do Corey pants look like?
Mad out bamboo. You're out of that one too.
We not know.
We not know.
Can I ask you a question?
You start with mine.
Okay, this is, do I still have y'all sign these minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah, this is indeed an official
okay.
meeting.
We got
One of them Thursday meetings.
to do circle a problem that we got to change.
In this Thursday day, on Thursday,
Oh,
which
okay.
we're at.
On the top, which says I wasn't there.
Oh, it says you wasn't there?
Yeah. But I call the meeting order.
Wait a minute, okay, let's see.
It says Judge Bullock called the meeting order.
Well, on Thursday. He called it to order.
Oh, it says Jimmy Riley was not present.
And then you made this motion.
Yeah, I made a motion.
Oh, okay, so were you not there or were you there?
He was there.
So why did she?
That would be Stacy not being there.
Oh, Stacy was not
I
here.
wasn't there.
They got you on there.
Go there?
Yeah, it says Mike and me.
Commissioner Mike Sykes and Commissioner Jimmy
It
Wiley,
said Stacy.
so it would be,
You were present?
were not present. Were you there? Were you there? Tell me the truth. Okay. Y'all gotta bear with me.
These Thursday meetings are
Why are y'all have Thursday?
P-I-T. We don't have to accept it now.
Commissioner Stacy.
She's leaving anyway again. Never thought about that, did you?
I'm just saying.
Who's gonna get that?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So we can't really have you sign this until she corrects it.
We will approve it with the corrections that we were talking about. She'll
Fix it.
fix it and we'll sign it next time.
We'll wait.
I'll switch to ahead and sign it. How are you?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, how are you? See, everyone.
She picked your pretty face out of the crowd to talk to, you
What did she say?
I'll let you. Is this your pen? I think I stole
Yes, ma'am, look at it.
Oh,
What do you think?
I like it.
How much do you
Can we
think?
get you a handful of it?
Did you see how much crazy adjustable we got this year?
Which one?
Crazy adjustable?
Oh, this is the minutes.
963
You
million,
approved me even though you weren't there?
487,
I did.
541
I
dollars.
guess you can,
Crazy adjustable.
Why weren't you there?
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Not old folks? Ones over freezing at 65?
Yeah.
They're aging themselves out of taxes, loaded up with people like you. You're not 65, Long ways from.
Oh,
Stuff
you
like that. Don't do a 65 this month.
okay. Yeah, I guess so. I just fixed, that's remember that.
Morning.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be doing cotton, but he ain't getting it out of it.
Oh, I need to do it.
He broke down and he drove.
Well, I tell you what, you can't be doing it from here, can you? Paints and chips. I'm not shopping this year, thank you.
Well, we had
They
a,
sent in 578, they were just like this, but drive up. Chips,
oh, yeah.
Kind of like
So
riding on
next,
them roads that just got finished taking scalping it.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Get on a motorcycle, it's like this.
Right here. Doesn't want to move the motorcycle around?
Yeah, on those, roads just been, surfaced,
Oh, yeah.
you know, stripped it.
Stripped. Wants to follow those lines?
He just wants to follow the line.
Morning, how you?
gotta get you to sign
Did you circle that spot there?
it. Yeah, I did. Okay, you want me to wait?
Well, I'm ready in the
All
fine.
right, just be that way.
It is a detention. Volunteer.
Okay.
So that's right.
I just asked him if I had to have y'all sign these.
Sure, you have to have a sign, have to sign the corrected copy.
Okay.
She said, can I have you sign this at your here? I said, sure, sign it.
I told her, they're gonna go check it out.
Y'all have to bear with me, okay?
Well, we can approve it, but we're gonna have to sign it correctly.
Oh, yellow. That's good. It's all it is. Just Washington Street.
He will be here.
He won't be here? Okay. He's on vacation. That's it.
He will not go.
Precinct? In person?
Yeah.
They can only work.
They found it, and it worked.
Alvin Strip.
So he had to go down.
Good.
Be there at 9 o'clock.
A whole lot better gas.
I was at my insurance company.
Water around it.
Water there hasn't got much money.
Yes. Yes. There's a extra copy of
Good morning.
Morning.
Welcome to Young County Commissioners Court. We'll call this meeting to order, regular meeting of the Young County Commissioners Court, Monday, June the 11th, 2018. It is 9:33 a.m. We'll make note that this meeting has been posted in the manner and for the time required, and that with the exception of Commissioner Pruitt, all other members of the court are present. If it's convenient, please rise. Be led invocation and the pledge to our flag. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this day and for all the many blessings that you bring to us. We're grateful for this country, for this state, for this county. We're grateful for the opportunity that we have to serve those citizens who placed us in their trust. We ask your blessings upon all of those members of our military and law enforcement activities who stand in harm's way and protect the rights and the freedoms that we know. Whether those threats come from foreign sources or domestic sources. We're grateful for all those that have served and that do serve and that will ever serve. We ask your blessings upon this meeting and upon the things that we come to decide here, that they be according to your will and in the best interest of those whom we serve. And in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Please be seated. If it pleases the court, we'll jump down right off the bat here before we approve the minutes to item number 16. Would that please the court?
That would be great.
Wayne has made a plea to me to be here because he had something he needed to do. Item number 16 is discuss and consider the Young County Rural Volunteer Fire Department proposal for improving emergency communications for Young County and the Murray area of the county. Mr. Wayne Peters, step out up here and state your name.
I'm Wayne Peters. I'm the chief of the Young County Rural Volunteer Fire Department. That's who I'm representing today. For years, we've had a problem with radio communication in the northwest and the southwest and northeast parts of the county because of the narrowbanding and because of the terrain. We recently got the tower running up at Loving, and it's seamless. I mean, it's working really good. We had trucks parked side by side on the fire. One was talking on the Loving Tower and one was talking on the Graham Tower, you couldn't tell. I mean, you could talk to each other, you didn't know. And so we really got that covered except for the Credo Valley, and I don't think there's anybody ever going to do that. But back in December when we had the high gain antenna already purchased and coax for the Loving Tower, we used it temporarily on our ladder truck, and we put it on the site where the Murray Fire Department had built a new building. And they don't have enough ground there to put a conventional guide tower. It's not big enough. So we figured we could do a freestanding tower, and I put a 50-foot ladder up, put an antenna on it, and if you look at the maps that are in that packet, we did some testing, and all of the red dots that are on that map, did it come out in color?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, the red dots were, we were able to talk from our ladder truck on that 50-foot tower to handheld radios. And the yellow dots, well, we were not able to talk on handheld radios, but we were able to talk on mobile truck-mounted radios. There's some places that we talked that are not on that map, but it really didn't matter. They could be talked all the way up to the Throckmorton Airport. And so everywhere we tested, it worked. And so we felt like that'd be a good option to finally get coverage for practically everywhere in the county. And so we're asking for $25,000. That will include the tower itself, the erection of the tower, the radio room that will be built inside of the new Murray Fire Station, and it will include link radios for both the Sheriff's Office and the County Fire Department, and repeaters for both. So that's what I'm asking.
I would say that the one that's Loving that they put up has made a big difference as far as reception wise.
You say what?
The one at Loving it's up and going, it makes a big difference in that area. You can go, I bet you can go all the way up to 281 to White.
I don't know. I talked from Holiday.
Yeah, you can talk from Holiday on the mobile, but you can, on the handheld, up there where the Matlocks live, you can talk on a handheld from the Matlocks place there, which is the other side, over into Archer County,
Right.
all the way back to Graham.
And you can't tell in Graham who's talking on what tower unless you ask.
That's
I
right.
mean, it's seamless. Dispatchers don't even know what channel they're calling.
You know,
Well, these mobile towers seem to have solved a problem that we've been looking at for quite a while here at this court.
Yeah.
As what we do about towers.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about entering into long-term, high-dollar contracts with other towers and what have you, but thanks to you guys, y'all are finding some reasonable, economical solutions to this thing. So the difference in this tower and the last tower we paid for is that previously there was some stuff already paid for
Yes.
in that last tower.
Yes.
This will be an antenna similar to or like the one you've got in
Be
Loving.
identical to the antenna. It will be 60 foot tall instead of 89 like at Loving. And when we did this survey, we were at 50 foot. So the permanent tower will be actually 10 foot taller. So we'll get a little bit. I was impressed with one handheld they talked in from the Eliasville Bridge at the dam on a handheld. Now that's the lowest place you can go find them.
yeah.
And all down through Murray Cemetery, that road goes, and we could talk this road across McAfee.
We've got the sheriff here this morning. Sheriff, you got anything to say about this?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be great. So far, it's been working good. I can't see any problems setting one up in Murray. I think that would help us tremendously.
So we kind of lift that cloud that we've got there now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cell phones don't even work up there, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dead zone.
One in you're asking for 25,000 for half of that for the sheriff's department.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Almost 12,000, I believe.
11,250.
Yeah, and we've got, well, we didn't have the opportunity before to put a tower down there, but we didn't own the property. And now then, Murray Volunteer Fire Department owns the property where they're at now.
But if the conversation I had with Wayne, that's a one-time deal though.
Yeah, there won't be a monthly rent or, utility bill or anything like that.
Is there any annual inspections need to be done to that tower?
No, if it's 205 foot tall, you do, but we're not gonna be there.
And,
Is this one going
over
to
180
50 or
feet, have to have
60?
beacons on it, wouldn't have to have any beacons on it.
Yeah.
How much do we have in contingency?
And the other thing I was gonna say, we got access to a huge tower right now, and I don't know how long that'll be on the market, we can still get it for $1,500, but, you know, that could sell tonight.
Yeah. Just have to go to the surplus place?
A freestanding tower?
Freestanding tower, yeah. Of course, we had to dig a 10-foot deep hole, and it takes a massive amount of concrete, but,
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's our.
It's the wrong 25. The wrong 25.
No, it's a freestanding tower, it's a triangle.
What's the big one now? Oh,
Yeah.
There's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's tripod mount?
Yeah, tripod.
About
What's
59,000 or something.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like what's behind the sheriff's office.
I don't, how tall is that one? Do we know?
I can't remember how tall it is.
I'm close to 50 at least.
It looked to me like 50 foot, but I don't know.
It's what?
It's right 50
Yeah, I
foot.
think it's more than 50. but I'm not-
That's just the tower, that's not counting the extension with the antenna and stuff, so.
Well, I understand that $25,000 is a lot of money, but seeing it in the light of increasing the safety of the officers, the communication, the fire department, the safety of our residents, it seems like we should try to find that money to do that at this time with everything available to us at this moment. So.
We got that in contingency fund. That's what that's for, is the stuff that comes up that we don't.
That we didn't plan on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can secure the tower, for sure.
What kind of wind rating is that tower going to have?
I think it was 120, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's 120, if you had, like 6 square feet of,
Concrete.
yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's the same concept that they use on these wind towers. That's all it's holding it up, is concrete.
Block of concrete?
You know, placed in there.
Yeah, but it's a massive block of concrete.
Yeah.
It is.
350 yards,
450.
350.
That's only 450.
Are they?
Yeah, we don't have to have that much. And we'd certainly be, I'd rather have somebody like Commissioner Pruitt come by and we're spending money to make sure we're spending money right.
That's good.
He could probably dig it with his backhoe, too. He could probably dig that hole with his backhoe.
I'm hoping we can work some deal like that.
Yeah.
And it's lots of money right here at the end of the year.
A lot of money anytime. But I'm ready to opinion it's money that should be spent.
Yeah, law enforcement, help fire department, both.
I'd just take one motor lease.
All the time.
Somebody give up that motor lease, it'll be so bad.
Take one job out of the county somewhere and do that.
I wasn't inclined that we ought to do that.
I understand. I don't think the judge was either. He was trying to make a point. I would move that we approve and go forward with this project.
Second that.
To pay out of contingency.
Pay out of contingency.
Who made the second?
Money be taken where?
Out of contingency,
How much would we have?
It's 59,000.
Get about half of it. Split that between SO and Sheriff's Department.
they do what?
SO and Fire Department.
That's the department.
Well, they don't.
Is it gonna be strictly a Sheriff's Department expenditure, or is it gonna be an additional contribution to
What?
the Fire Department?
Go the way it's broken down right here.
We can kill
divided up to each one of them.
50/50? Yes. Out of contingency, 50/50 SO and fire department.
The sheriff's department doesn't have any money in their budget left.
No, not like that.
Good try, Stacy.
Yeah, we don't have anything either, we're pushing it for the end of this year.
It's coming to ask for more, right?
We're gonna pray it's gonna keep raining and keep things green.
But this is a future investment. So.
Oh, yeah. You know, if it saves one life, it's worth every penny.
So as we say, I mean, it's not only law enforcement and volunteer, it's gonna be, it could save anybody's life. We, have a medical emergency out there.
Just think if you're out there and had to look for somebody that's walked off, you're gonna be on the handheld anyway. That way you can communicate.
So we've got a motion by Commissioner Sykes on the table. Any more discussion regarding that? We will need a second to act on that.
I've already seconded.
This would be to add $25,000 or to take $25,000 from our contingency fund. And if I understood right, equally divided
Equally divided.
between and additional monies in the sheriff's department and dispatch.
Well,
You probably need to do dispatch on it, because that's where it's.
yeah, but we probably won't get reimbursement.
Did he say dispatch, or did I leave that part off?
I can pay it out of that dispatch line and move it out of contingency over there.
What kind of issues that gonna make on,
But we won't send, we can send it to the city, they won't reimburse it. But we
They only
won't
pick and choose what to do there.
send it in.
Okay. They don't need any radio tower out of Murray.
No.
equally divided,
I don't know. The two bills in here are like $20,597, so the other money, is that gonna be for something else?
Oh, it's for the tower and the erection materials for the,
Other than these two bills?
yeah,
there'll be
it's there.
some-
There should be a cover that.
Oh, okay.
There is the cost breakdown there, sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
That one, okay.
now that's motion by Commissioner Sykes, second is by Commissioner Wiley, to divide equally from the county contingency fund, $25,000, it'd be $12,500 each to increase the SO dispatch. I guess it's gonna be the dispatch. About $12,500, and Young County Rural Volunteer Fire Department by $12,500.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion? If it will solve the ills and concerns of communication systems that we've been dealing with for the last 4, 5, or 10 years, it will be very well worth the money. What's saying? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That's a 4 and a no.
Get it done.
Thank you.
Carol.
Go back to that cotton, JD.
I'm not really understanding that. You
Okay.
said
Let's order that tower.
split 50/50 out of the sheriff's department and the fire department. It's out of contingency.
Contingency. Sheriff's department / dispatch.
It's going to the dispatch, half of it's going to the rural fire department.
So I'll move it from those lines into those, Shirley.
Okay, got it.
And I can give you those exact lines too,
And that is for radio interoperability. Okay, public comments, announcements, presentations. These are no action items. We'll have one on Chris, if you'll come forward up here. He's called me, I don't know, quite some time ago. I met him one time, I think. He has the, I guess you aggregated the electrical contract with the city of Graham. Some other counties around. He called me and wanted to present this program to us. Tell us what he can do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for having me. I do have some information to hand out, just go through it with you all very quickly. So my name is Chris Watson. The company that I work for, the company's name is Five. Just Five. I'd like to keep it simple, but our company, we started about 6.5 years ago. It was actually the executive team that ran First Choice Power. First Choice Power was fourth largest supplier in the state. They turned that company around and it sold to Direct Energy, another supplier like TXU, Reliant, and other ones like that. And so we decided to start an advisory firm. And the reason for that is out there in the electricity market since deregulation, you have on one side all the suppliers, the big, names TXU, Reliant, Green Mountain, JEXA, things like that. And then on the other side, you have brokers in the space. And the good and bad thing about our industry is that there is literally no barrier to entry. So someone that wants to sell equipment on Monday and vitamins on Tuesday can turn around and sell electricity on Wednesday. And we just saw a big gap in the middle where we thought that we could bring a lot of expertise and experience from the supplier side, really the DNA of a big supply company, but bring it to the end user at the end of the day. And so that's why the company started. Since then, we've helped a little over 100 government entities in the state. I personally work with a lot of the school districts and counties and cities, including the city of Graham, for our company. And so that's kind of where we've evolved from and where we are today. The information here, just some background on our company, I kind of covered there on that second page. The third page, this is just some information on the partners that started our firm. The only thing I like to point out here is kind of, as I mentioned, we essentially have the DNA of a supplier. So some of these gentlemen are past presidents and VPs of some of the largest supply companies in the country, really led the way, like Constellation New Energy led the way for deregulation. We also have individuals that are engineers and supply, they watch the markets. Eric Planis, he really put together a lot of the intelligence behind how suppliers really build a price out and things like that. So a lot of different areas of expertise, but we like to bring that to our clients. The fourth page, really, it just highlights a lot of the awards that we've won along the way. We're big on culture at our company, and the only reason I like to point that out is we believe if you have happy employees, that translates to good customer service to the clients. Typically, you kind of have companies that get fastest growing or most profitable, things like that, and then you have best places to work. We've won a lot of awards across both sides, and so we're very proud of that. The fifth page here, service offerings. This is, I like to point this out because most people in our space, it's really just, here's a price, here's a contract, sign it, talk to you 3-4 years from now. And we really wanted to change that dynamic. We believe that customers deserve better. And so this is just kind of a snippet of types of things that we do for our clients, everything from budget forecasting every year for the county to helping on any questions with bills. I mean, we get the most random things like the city. We help them actually out at the arena in looking at what they were spending on for electricity for different events that were going on throughout the year at the arena. To different counties that we had even looked at 2 different proposals for one city actually that was looking at 2 different types of golf carts and which one would be more efficient, because one used less electricity to charge it up than another one, and we looked at those performance. So really, we always like to tell our clients, anything energy related, that's what we're there for. Come to us at any time. The next page, page 6, I do like to give you all a little bit of information, at least a high-level overview of what's going on in the market. And this is just directly because of feedback that we've gotten from clients. The feedback we've been told is, look, you know, we had a supplier call us or a broker call us and they say, hey, sign this 3, 4, 5-year contract because we say so. And they never really spend the time of saying, hey, here's what's going on in the market and here's what y'all should do because of these reasons. So y'all are in a good spot right now. You're out till about a year left on your contract. So, you know, of course, the big question is why would we even be looking at things right now? And this market information will kind of hopefully answer that. The first page right here, this is just a big picture view of the past 20 plus years of wholesale natural gas. So kind of two components make up wholesale electricity in Texas. Your fuel, so natural gas, coal, whatever that fuel is, and then your generation cost, your heat rate, turning that fuel into electricity. So as you can see, this is prompt month natural gas, so a very close time period. We're sitting below a 5-year average, but not too far off of the historical low. It'll make more sense here in a little bit of why we even look at this. The next page, yes, sir.
Has there been some coal plants shut down?
Yes, and I'll get to that here in just a second. It's you can definitely see some movement here in another slide. This next page, we watch we watch natural gas storage because it's just a supply and demand issue, right? If you have a lot of excess storage, prices are usually low. If storage is short, then prices typically go up. Right now, this graph right here, it shows the gray area is the 5-year range. The blue line is the 5-year average. That red line is actually where we're at. So we're sitting pretty well below that 5-year average going into this summer. And if we have a hot summer, which, I mean, it's already 103 the weekend before last, but we should be kind of going into this winter well below the 5-year average, possibly at a 5-year low falling out of that range. So just something we always like to look at what risks are lying ahead, and this is something that we're keeping a big eye on. So this next slide, this will start to kind of allude to what the judge was mentioning. Let me explain what we're looking at here. This is a historical view looking back all the way to 2014 of wholesale electricity prices. Each different calendar year is a different color line. So a lot of people don't know that there's actually prices for calendar year 2024 today, or for February of 2022. Each month has a price, each year has a price. So we look at things from a big picture view, but we also like to look at each individual here so that we can see where opportunities are. So if you look at kind of the second half of the fall in 2017, there's kind of this U shape right there. The reason for that U is we had come down, and then TXU made an announcement that they were looking at potentially closing 3 coal-fired power plants, just because they're old, inefficient plants, and they couldn't keep them open any longer. So just that announcement made the market rally right away. Now, right after that, it did come down a little bit, but then if you look at February of 2018, see how that blue line really just runs off, and then the black line is falling right behind it. That's calendar years 2019 and 2020. That's actually when TXU closed those 3 coal-fired plants, and a report came out talking about the reserve margin going into this summer. So the reserve margin is essentially when the grid is at its absolute max, what left do we have in the tank to fulfill more needs? The ERCOT likes to keep it around 15.5%. We're going into this summer about 11.5%. Just because of those reasons, the closer years have just gone through the roof. Now, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword because that's bad news, of course, for people that have contracts that end in 2019 or 2020. But if you'll look, all the other colored lines, they plummeted. So the market kind of did the splits a little bit. And so this is why we look at graphs like this, again, to look at what years are dropping, which ones are going up. And so there's big opportunity in those farther out years. The next chart, and this is the last one, I promise. This is now a forward look. So that last graph was looking back. This is now looking forward all the way out to 2028. And the reason why it looks kind of like a funky EKG chart is each spike is a summer, and then you have a little dip down in the fall and a hump there in the winter, and then another dip in the spring, and then back up for the summer. And we're looking at 3 different moments in time. We're looking at the blue line is October of last year. That's right before TXU said that they're potentially closing those coal-fired plants. The black line is February of this year. This is when they actually closed those plants. And then the green line is the 8th of this month, so just last week. And so what you can see, the reason why I like to look at this is really 2021 and onward, all the different color lines are right on top of each other. Where the big movement has been is in the summer of 2018, 2019, and 2020. So position that y'all are in is, your contract ends next summer, so summer of 2019. So it's going to hurt a little bit from that spike that's happened in the summer. But the advice that we've been giving to a lot of clients is if you're looking at farther out terms, you're able to take advantage of some of these really, really low prices, which will help to offset. At least, you're not having to deal with this summer, which is the biggest spike that we've seen in summer of 2018. But that will help you in kind of bringing that price down. We're looking at potentially for a county of this size, we looked at your usage, but you're looking at, depending on how far out you go, probably a mid to higher 3-cent range. Now, there's, a million different brokers out there. Here's the deal. Everybody gets the same prices from all the different suppliers. It just matters what commission they're having the supplier pay them. We're transparent with our clients of saying, hey, here's how much we're getting paid by suppliers. It is baked into your fee. Now, if you went directly with the supplier, they're going to pay an internal salesperson, or they can pay an outside company. Doesn't really matter. We just like to be transparent about that, and it's just what are you getting for that fee. So really kind of the next step would be is if you all decided to move forward with our company, we would, we've already started on the analysis looking at how much electricity you use, how you use it. Our procurement process is very different from a lot of companies out there. We work with every major supplier in the state, but that doesn't mean that every supplier in the state would be good for the county. There might be a supplier that's great at managing the electricity contract for a mom and pop donut shop, but not good at serving the county. So for this county, there's probably about 8 suppliers that would be really good at serving y'all's load. We would go out to those, and we would run round after round after round of pricing. And the reason for doing that is to create competition, healthy competition between the suppliers to see, who's going to be the best for you. And each round it would dwindle from maybe 8 down to 6, down to 4. But the unique thing about what we do is in between each round, we give pricing feedback to each supplier. And we don't tell them, hey, Reliant or TXU, you're, number 3 out of 6. We'll tell them that, but we won't tell them who number 2 is, or number 1, or number 4, or 5, and we don't share prices. But what's interesting is you'll see suppliers start to jockey for position in who really wants to win your business. And then we also have interlocal credentials through TIPS, the interlocal purchasing system. So it allows us to run that RFP on your behalf so that you're covered on all purchasing guidelines and things. But so we like to do it that way. We run that process literally within about a week or so. Our big worry, whether y'all work with us or not, is I highly advise y'all make a decision here pretty quickly, because as we get closer into this summer, and as we're already seeing a hot summer, the market really could react pretty quickly. And with your contract being up in a year, it's that shorter time frame that's going to get affected.
Gentlemen, I might suggest that Chris maybe come back as an agenda item so that we could discuss this more fully and maybe make a decision at that point.
Question on the deal is, do y'all ever do any work with the transmission cost?
So, your Encore fee, so your bill is broken down to your supply costs and then your delivery costs.
Yeah.
I always explain delivery costs is kind of like taxes. Everybody has to pay them, you just don't have to overpay. So there are some things that we look at, a part of the analysis that we look at is There's sometimes penalties that you're paying that you don't know about because it's not line item on there. We work on the operations side with a lot of counties on, hey, if you did, you know, this or that operationally, you could save some money there. So we try to advise as much as we can. You're not going to see huge movement, but hey, don't overpay. Absolutely.
Those are the kind of questions that we can ask him when we get to a full-blown discussion of what.
So this stemmed out First Choice?
I'm sorry?
This company stemmed out a First Choice?
It was the executive team that was at First Choice Power, and then they sold. The board of directors decided to sell to Direct Energy.
Is that public service?
Texas, it was the deregulated arm out of Texas, New Mexico. Yes, sir.
We're still under contract right now, and it's kind of stated, summer months are bad. Paraphrasing, summer months are bad time to lock in contract. Would we not wait till it cools off and see exactly what the summer has done to us?
So summer
And look
months,
at rates?
summer months are bad for when you're looking at just prompt month, meaning like if your contract started next month or something like that. The real risk of waiting until, let's say, the fall and stuff is that this summer is hot, the market runs up, and it drags everything else up with it. It can take a full year, 2 years to even have an opportunity to come back down. So that's why with a lot of that chart that showed the different color lines and stuff, just a great example is with the city. I mean, back in the spring of 2016, we saw a low. We have helped them lock in out until 2022. And then in the fall of 2017, those farther out years really dropped. We helped them go from 22 out to, I believe it was 27. And it's that proactive kind of future purchasing that gives you kind of the upper hand, because then you're proactively buying on dips instead of just kind of taking what the market gives you.
So, do you think the coal plant could get shut down, and will this new administration up there change the EPA regulations and open them back up? Or will they make some changes and open them back up in the future?
Those I don't believe are going to open back up. It's really just because of the inefficiency of them. I mean, when they're old, it's like an old pickup. You can only run it for so long and stuff until the maintenance costs kind of get higher and higher. Yep. And so we kind of the catch-22 that we're in right now, honestly, is that those plants closed because electricity was so darn cheap that they couldn't make money to stay open. Well, let's say that the summer, is real hot. Well, electricity prices will skyrocket. Now, let's say if it's a mild summer and prices come back down, well, then we're in the same predicament where now we'll see more coal-fired plants shut down because they can't stay open. There's no incentive for new generation to come online. So we're kind of in this situation of, it's definitely a catch-22 of either way, we're not probably looking at going up.
A little question for you, just for curiosity's sake, just so you may know that. How much of our electrical use here, I guess almost like, again, I want to get it local as again, just say statewide, how much of the electrical generation are we generating by wind and solar?
So wind, I believe it was last calendar year made up, I want to say it was somewhere right at around 8 to 11%, roughly, of the overall generation statewide.
Is that?
Now, right, in this area, I don't know specifically, but
in the ERCOT system?
In the ERCOT system, yes, wind overall. So a lot of that is starting here and headed west.
Around 10%.
Yes, sir. So, and we're starting to see a lot of things come online where, wind, solar is really starting to make a good move, where solar is only really making financial sense right now is not the rooftop units, to put on the courthouse or something like that. It's these large utility scale solar projects out in West Texas and connected to the grid.
Weren't coal plants actually hurt more by the lack of subsidies that these other folks get versus the rest of them, and the unfavorable regulation of the EPA and the prior administration?
It's made it harder, that's for sure. It's that, but also when natural gas is so darn cheap. I mean, we've been, right now, for the last few months, we've been hovering $2.70 to $2.90. I mean, staying under $3 is extremely low. But when you have natural gas fired power plants and their fuel is down here, and then you have coal plants and their fuel's up here, plus regulations and everything like that, it's hard for them to compete because these natural gas
The
plants
efficiency
are
of
just
wind is terrible. If it weren't for the government subsidies, they wouldn't be in the game either. Okay, that's the elephant in the room here.
Yeah, I mean,
These are artificial prices.
yeah, it's wind. It's a unique approach. I will say it has helped in some of these big spikes that we've seen in the past summer or two over the summertime, where we could have seen a huge run up, but we got lucky in that it was a really windy day out by Sweetwater. It did kind of help the market not go too crazy. So it's helped some, but
But when the wind stops on a hot day,
yeah, well, and when does the wind not blow? Usually when it's burning up.
Burning up.
So there's just a lot of changes right now. But when we look at the market overall, we look at just sheer risk to reward and how much room is there to move down. And if you're looking at sub 4-cent prices, could it go down one day to a 3.2 or a 3.0 or something like that? Yes, absolutely. But could it go up to a 5.5 or a 6 where you're at today? Absolutely. So you kind of have to weigh that downward potential movement versus the upward movement.
Very green.
Your office and headquarters out of Metro.
Yes, sir. So our headquarters is over in Las Colinas. I live in Aledo, and my office in Fort Worth. And then I'm a Red Raider, and so I pretty much stay Aledo and go west. So.
Lots of strikes against you then.
No, but we try.
But this is a privately held.
Yes, sir. Yes, privately held. Yeah, we're about 40 to 45-ish full-time employees. We operate in every deregulated market in the country, and actually also in Mexico now. The entire country of Mexico is deregulated, so we're doing some business down there.
Anything else for Chris?
like I say, you come back so we could ask more
Absolutely.
questions, have a more in-depth discussion, and parse some of these numbers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll invite you back. Sure.
Sounds great. Thank you all for your time.
Appreciate it.
Maybe explain to me what a chief culture officer does.
I'd love to.
Okay, is there any other announcements or anything anybody needs to tell us about? If not, we'll move on to item number 4. Let's consider county clerk minutes from previous meetings of the May 29th and June 7th. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections that need to be made in those minutes?
Yes, we've already made note of that in the Thursday meeting minutes. The top portion of it there, just need to be a name change in it.
Okay.
Where it says, I'm not there, but I am there.
Chief Wiley, Stacy Rogers, always
Yeah,
Yeah, you was there. So your signature.
yeah.
Tom and the doctor's appointment that day.
It was crossed.
Stacy
Put
Rogers was.
Stacy's name in there, where my name is. Where I was.
Yeah, it should be Commissioner Mike Sampson, Commissioner Stacy Rogers.
Yeah, that's not good. That'll take care of it. And then we'll approve both sets of minutes.
Okay, well,
With that.
Just that correction. Okay, we'll make that Noted correction on those minutes.
Do we need to just let spelling slide?
Excuse me.
If we got a misspelled word, should we correct that, or is that nitpicking?
Do you know what it says?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Has been posted in the manner and for the time required. M-A-N-N-E-R, not M-A-N-O-R.
Okay.
We go down to the manor and have the rest of meal. Item 1, last sentence. Got it?
Corrections there.
Why are you sharp, Dickie?
I know, I'll be the next one to make the mistake, so.
So moved on both sets of minutes
That's correct.
as they are stand corrected.
Have a motion by Commissioner Wiley and a second by Commissioner Rogers to approve those minutes as corrected. All in favor? 4-0. Item number 5. Mr. Treasurer, please come
There's
and
just
give us.
securities pledged, and that's all.
$616,219.04 over market. Excess.
That's all the report you're gonna give us.
Yep, that's it.
All I got.
We'll move on there.
Second.
Who was that, Wiley?
Wiley, Sykes.
Thank you.
Wiley, Sykes. Set. Security pledges. All in favor? Item number 6, consider audit budget amendments and payment of vouchers. Budget amendments, payment of vouchers.
How about vouchers?
No amendments. Okay, that's usually a good thing. But there will be some.
There will be some.
Sounds like they're being encouraged.
Yeah, they are. Total of the vouchers is $140,786.12, and out of the general is $128,850.75. The majority came out of the general. The precincts weren't very much this time.
So moved on the vouchers.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wiley and a second by Commissioner Rogers to approve the vouchers as presented. All in favor? Four of them.
I'm sorry, Cheryl, I didn't get that amount.
Which one, Shirley? The total or the?
That says,
The total is $140,786.12, and out of the general is $128,850.75.
120,
850 75 cents.
You get that or you get that?
I'll get it, make a copy.
thank you.
All right.
Got the money? Yep.
Treasurer, I'll sign it. You want to talk about the bullet underneath there?
Yes, cap risk, we got a specific bullet point under number 6, discuss and consider cap risk, Young County, for Young County. Has to do with gas B75, which I believe has been renamed, is that correct?
Right, it took the place of the gas speed 45, and there's gonna be a little bit more until, Mr. Owen is getting with Marcia, and she gets all the information to him, and I'm not sure what all else is gonna be added to that. But, I noticed the price had been, $3,400, and now it's $39.50. So it had gone up a little bit because it is a little more entailed on what they want, but we have to do it.
Will PEB, that's other public employee benefits? Is that
Yes, sir.
correct?
The good thing about the good thing about the 3950 though is they're gonna honor that all the way through the fiscal year 2023.
And you know, the 45 has cost us $3,400 for the last, how long, we've done it, 5 or 6 years, so. And he's, you know, as soon as Marcia gets all the information, he's very prompt on getting this, and then Mike Edgen will have to have this part of it for his part of the audit also. No, this is totally
Different
out.
animal.
It's gotta be done.
It's got to be done. Gatsby things are,
See, it wasn't long after we finished the jail when we first started doing it.
No,
Yeah.
was it 07?
07.
Maybe longer.
Maybe longer,
I
probably.
don't know, time flies.
Yes. More like 12 years.
So fun.
Is this probably, is this a central contract?
Yes, there's
I make a motion we accept this contract with Cat Rich Consulting Group, and also the new price of $39.50 that is good through 2023.
I'll second that.
That'd be fiscal year 2021.
Contract. We have the Cat Rich Consulting Group.
Fiscal year 2023
Well,
is what
I've
the,
read that completely and fully. No method doesn't have that, out clause in that, so.
it says here in the Cat Rich that will honor all inclusive flat fee schedule through fiscal year 2023.
Yeah. But I think we'll probably all do that for this year, and it'll all be done every year.
Okay.
A little adjustment on
I know the other one, I think we did it every year.
Yeah. It stayed the same every year. But the other one didn't ever say this that I remember.
I don't remember.
It never said that, it just was the
And, you
same
know,
every year.
I don't know how you did that, because what if that Gatsby 75 gets replaced by
Well, that's why,
Gatsby 85?
that's why I'm saying they think they're looking at past 2023, there's gonna be some changes done.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, the administration's gonna come up with something different between now and then.
And it states for additional evaluations to be performed during the extended time frame. It doesn't say evaluations on which contract.
Right.
So I think it would supplement whatever change they made in the contract.
Yeah. There's a lot of people working in Texas, Oklahoma, across the U.S.
Well, multi-year contracts are, the county government, they're required to have an opt-out clause in this new fact that something very unforeseen, say,
Of course, it states this in that one part of their actual.
Yeah, the actual
fiscal
contract.
years, fiscal year 2018 to fiscal year 2023. It actually states it, so. However the court desires.
all in favor?
Now,
4, 0. 4 for, 0 against. Cheryl, I'm going to do this.
Okay.
Okay, item number 7 is consider approval of bond, Darrell Gilmore, Director of Adult Probation, $5,000 bond.
I move we approve that bond.
You sure you will do it?
I know the guy, so I should be a little more squeamish about it. I might.
Usually original bond too, sure they don't.
Four of them. Okay.
Wait, who seconded that?
Stacy, right there.
Okay. You're so quiet.
He shouted it.
Item number 8, and a little thing I should put up here on that too. Public comments.
That's
Item
so
number 8, we'll give it here. Consider extension agent's request for reimbursement from Miranda Rebel $391.31 and Justin Rogers $299.21 respectively.
I move we approve the extension agent's request for reimbursement.
Second.
Wiley. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried 4-0, and on another note there, you have a delivery to you, letter.
We don't have to accept that, do we?
No, no, I don't think I'm making no change.
It wouldn't change things.
I kind of questioned that. I told her, no, we won't accept that.
What is it?
Start
Do I
time.
put that in the minutes?
Letter of resignation
Or did you
from
like?
Miranda.
No,
Yeah, she's going to Archer City.
don't deny that.
I did.
Rather than move to Young County, she just moved her job to where she lives.
This relates, this to the Young County Commissioners Court, order regarding resignation position. This letter is to inform you that I have offered, and I have been offered and accepted the position of family community health agent in Archer County. My last day in Young County will be June 30th, 2018. My first day in Archer County will be July the 1st, 2018. People in Young County have been a real pleasure to work with, and I have made many friends, many friendships here that I will always cherish. They have allowed me into their homes and trusted them with their children. I know that one of these children will change the world one day. This decision is not made easy one for me, but knowing that I will be able to extend my educational outreach confirms my decision. I appreciate the support that has been shown to me. Thank you for your support, Miranda Rebel. County Extension Agent, they've changed that name again to Family and Consumer Health.
Yeah.
So Miranda's been real good, she's a real go-getter. Admonished her a little bit, whimpered a little bit, and so I backed off.
Oh.
Wish her the best, very best, and I will admonish Judge Jackson for invading her territory.
Yeah. They should put that on the website.
Tell him to fund her well. That we just built her a new kitchen, she just started cooking.
Where does she live at now?
I got one.
Archer County, Holiday.
Holiday.
Yes, they couldn't ever find a house or a place down here that
Was financially feasible.
And
They have like horses and
her
stuff.
husband, Wheels, still works in Wichita Falls. I guess he's got a pretty good job there that he can't leave and doesn't want to leave.
It's a good move for her.
Yeah.
Additional 40 miles, whatever that is.
We'll get another one just as good or better,
We
so.
will. God opens and closes the doors.
How does that happen? I mean, how does the state recommend people or what?
I think they've got a little network inside the extension office, and when one starts to leave, they kind of put word out.
Yeah, that'll be
I
offered.
think she heard it heard it through the grapevine, that it was available.
Good move for her.
I think they have to hire from within first.
I don't think they'll post it until she leaves.
Right.
It'll be posted on internally for a while, and
Right.
if nothing materializes there quicker, then they'll post it.
I think another one of the reasons for her leaving was that she needed to be close to the school for all those parent-teacher conferences she was having. Oops. I actually think we've outgrown that.
No action on that letter?
Well, it's not,
What can we do about it? I'm with Jenny.
I
I move we not accept it.
Court noted.
Court says, thank you, Maria.
We just have to acknowledge it.
we've had two vote here on that, and leave that issue.
We did. Tell her, yeah.
Sorry, they said no.
You got a good environment for these kids. Nobody.
Anyway, she brought that into the other day.
So it's been read and acknowledged.
She really humble about it, she getting presented.
I hope we get someone that's as interested in 4-H as she was.
I made contact with her district guy and said,
Dale,
needs a replacement pretty quick.
yeah, we got programs that are rolling.
Okay. Item number 9, discuss May activity report at the jail and sheriff's office. Sheriff Babcock.
Good morning. How's your business been?
You know what, it's picking up.
That's,
Seems like the warmer it's getting,
sure the temper's good?
Like terrible arrest, sir. This was last month.
What's your business picking up?
We still recording over there?
No, really not sorry.
Red lights off.
What bit of methamphetamine, too?
Sorry?
What bit of methamphetamine?
Well, crap.
Yes.
The gas only 45 years.
I had to reset it. I don't know what happened to it.
I did,
Yard service.
I did right here.
Okay.
Really?
I don't know why it went off.
I don't know either because it knocked me off
You
too.
sure? I just make a note of that.
He's been 60 days.
Really?
Wow.
That wasn't long. 4 years maybe? Okay. Yeah, you can tell we had 14 arrests last month and 22 grams of meth. That all come off of one arrest, so.
Did the marijuana come off the same arrest?
Yeah. No.
It didn't.
Not that I remember.
That's right, it's another step for all.
Yeah, and it seems like we've written like 19 citations last month. But it seems like already this month we're starting to, business is picking up.
Livestock complaints have remained low, so.
Right. We had 54 people in jail so far today, so.
And it's been up around 65, though.
It has, it's been going back and forth. I think here in a minute when I show you the jail, I believe it was like 59 was the average last month.
Down full staff.
We are not full staff. We I'm doing a final interview today, 1:30 and 2:30 with 2 applicants. We interviewed 6 a couple weeks ago. We need Tuesday.
Oh, that's over jail vote.
That's now could we add 2 positions, one left in Metro Bowie, and then another one that turned his 2 weeks notice in, I believe, last month. We are running too low right now. But hopefully after today we'll be fully staffed again. These 2 guys are both of them are fresh out of the academy, so you're talking about 14-week at least training period.
Ain't a little overtime, then.
Sorry.
Ain't some overtime.
We have that. This right here is costing us some overtime. And, a lot of it was we had a workers' comp deal for 5 months that we hanging on, and that put us on also. And with that and this big trials that we've had to do security on, that's cost us a lot that we wasn't anticipating. So, the overtime is crazy. This will slow it down when we get these other 2 hired and trained and ready to go.
So 14 weeks of training, paid training, in-house training.
It's in-house.
In the field.
What they'll do is they'll be riding with a field training officer for that 14 weeks. Which actually makes it even better, because at least then you have a 2-man unit, so that they're not out there by themselves. Hopefully that'll all get squared away real quick. I don't see nothing. I mean, the only other thing was the civil process that we served. 55 papers served, which generated like $4,950 was the civil process. Here's the jail. This is there, it's 59.
Thanks, sir. Oops.
One thing I liked about.
You got an extra one there, sir?
I do. One thing I like about this monthly report on the jail is the money we got back from TDC.
Good. How many months was that?
That was just for last month. I don't know how many months that was that we did that. That's just what we got back from last month.
You're gonna check that size to show months that haven't been paid yet.
It probably was, a lot of it was months before that, so.
It's
But
good
at
that you
least
got
we're
it.
getting that, because before we wasn't even getting it.
Is that just transport reimbursement, or was there any,
That's just transport reimbursement.
we haven't kept anybody over 49 days?
February?
Not that I'm aware of. Everybody that we have that's convicted and got their pay back, we've been sending them over.
This is this first check we got in a long time.
I don't know, I can't.
Timmy says it's February through end of May.
Okay,
Yeah, we got one in January for
Okay.
last year and January.
all right, well, that's good. And I was gonna see, We did
So your
do,
jail population is up?
right now, it's been staying average. It hadn't been up and down. It's been anywhere from like, what Commissioner Wiley said, anywhere from mid-60s down to the low 50s.
Your MHMR apartments are down about 25%.
Yeah.
We're 44 right now. 48.
What's that?
44 inmates.
44?
Around this one.
I was told we had 54. Yeah.
Steve's got a copy of it.
53,
Yes, it said 53.
44 males, 9
Oh, that's right, 44 was
It's never been in the 40s since I've been sheriff.
But this was May's average 59.
Yes, sir.
They take that juvenile a long way, don't
Huh?
they? They take that one juvenile a long way.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's only one, but
Is that a placement? Is that a placement or?
I don't remember what the deal was on that.
It was. Went down to, went down to Austin.
Yes, somewhere over around Austin. Is that where it is? Have to pick him up.
Got 4 people.
I'm sorry?
Got 4 people.
14th pool.
Yeah, 14 pool. 14 going to MHMR. Didn't have a whole lot going to the hospital.
Has the lady that's pregnant, is she out now?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I believe so. Because he hadn't been, nobody's had a discussion, hadn't brought up in a while.
Okay.
Notice the activity in all these at 0.
Yeah, no convicts no more.
Well, I wouldn't bet on that.
They have just completely stopped crime over there.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for all that right there in
You
May.
know.
The activity in the city of Graham has stayed about the same. Then we have just one back in May that was housed from other counties,
For 9 days.
9 days. We made $126 off of that, 9 days. I was told that we might want to renegotiate our price we charge per day.
Higher or lower?
Higher. Is there something y'all can think about?
All can.
Budgeting time, it's a good time to talk about it.
Yeah. So, we might just present that when we get everything ready. So I want to sit down and let talk to everyone and see exactly what we think we need to come up.
All our jail cells in good shape.
Well, actually, we had to do some work over the weekend over the air conditioners inside one of the female cells that went out. And Vicky came out yesterday and got that back to working. So we had
Well,
to,
that'll be on waiting, been calculating that. Wanting to be going down.
yeah, or,
Yeah, he's at $31, isn't he, for the city?
yeah, for the city, yeah.
Well,
Do those counties shop prices when they start putting prisoners out, or is it just for convenience, or who's got room?
Actually, they do a lot of shopping around. Cause I know Throckmorton, they'll take them to Stevens County because they're a little cheaper than what we are.
those that, on steam misdemeanors, or the, obviously, the municipal court, are those calculated $100 per day?
Yes, sir.
I know they don't get money for that.
I know.
So it's kind of double.
to reimburse $100 for a $50 fine?
Yeah, that's kind of, how do you do that?
Raise your fine.
Well,
Can't do that.
I ain't gonna do that.
they can. Anyway,
Good.
does anybody else have any questions on the jail?
How the dogs doing?
Dogs are doing good. They, been out on numerous searches. In fact, we already had a lot of activity on this month, because we even had, we're still going to Archer County. They'll call for dogs and we'll go over there. We used, breaking in here the other day, they used, Rocky to search for the person that was there, and they found him. They're not 100% sure there was another person in the vehicle. I don't know too much about it.
One to try to burglarize Jordan's, wasn't it?
I don't know a whole lot about the details on it.
Over the city, then.
We were about to use Sam yesterday on a missing person, but they located him. Get there.
Now, is that it, this county or
The missing person here. Yeah.
It's missing?
No problem. Yeah, there should be, like I said, there should be some more activity on that next month. Like I said, they've been doing quite a bit.
Memorial Day visit.
Actually, it's really quiet. I think it's too hot for everybody, which was good, I mean, because.
All troubles down at Red Bull.
Yeah, well, it was, I guess, what was the possibility, the weekend after Memorial
Weekend
Day.
after.
We had a lot of people also working that day because of the way that we had to have people stationed, deputy stationed in certain areas for traffic control. And that eats on our overtime also. But we did see a lot of people, and it was hot. We had a rest area, the sheriff's office did, out on I-78 and 209. And by the time they got to where we were at,
We were worn out, right?
4 of them, they called it quits. But they all was complaining about that chip seal, just shaking them.
Shaking them back. New chip seal.
Never heard anybody complain about anything until this year, the heat, and they said it was hotter than that one in Wichita.
They were real sensitive to it when they got that hot too.
Yeah. So,
And I guess there was no instances with traffic whatsoever.
none. We, like I said, I had probably 4 of them working out on 67. We even had some volunteers from the sheriff's posse that came in, and the sheriff's posse that's trying to get organized still. But we had some volunteers come out and help us on that, and that worked out good. No one got hurt.
Did a fine job.
Well, I appreciate it. They all did. Thank you all.
Thank you.
I've written on it.
Item number 10, consider acceptance of donated materials and labor for enclosing for Belknap Residence Garage. Jim, you want to say anything about this?
Not really, that's the
I think we've got
things
probably the
there.
exhibits in here.
I don't have an exhibit for the piano.
You know, it's not absolute that we have to put the amount of or a value to the donated item, but this is for the people that makes those donations. Sure. It's a good reference for them to be able to deduct that from a charitable contribution, things like that. So checked on the, this was for building materials, First Baptist Church only, floor covering, electrical and floor covering materials, Tim and Amber Hamlin, Bobby Wolf for labor, construction labor, and then there was 114 hours of volunteer labor. We don't have anything, if we didn't put a value on that, so don't know just what to do there, but
That's multiple individuals, though.
yeah, multiple various people.
There's, six, guys from the church came out to help them drywall and stuff like that, so, and then letting, the walls, putting up extra stuff, painting on the walls.
Where are we at on
Oh,
the, it's done?
Yeah, it's, I mean, they had this done in, I mean, it was 3 days and we were moving stuff in, so Amber and I stayed up late one night to get the padding and carpet and stuff laid down. Anyway, we stretched it all, so did all that.
Well, I'd move that we accept the donation of materials and labor for Fort Belknap as specified in item 10.
I'll second that.
They all in favor?
Aye.
4-0. And just word of thanks to them, and we appreciate the business of Fort Belknap and their activities and their support. Also, number 11, we have another donated item to Fort Belknap. It's donated by a church, and it doesn't necessarily need a value on it, the church being a charitable organization itself. So,
Do you have an
Yes.
exhibit for that one, Judge?
any what?
Do you have an exhibit for that? I don't have an exhibit for that.
I think I just emailed
I
that.
think it's just on that.
Oh, okay.
I just emailed it to Timmy whenever, just the information on it.
On the
Whenever I
piano?
had it on the piano, yeah.
So Timmy may have
It
it.
should be in here.
It wasn't a form, it was just an email saying.
Oh,
Oh,
we
just
got
an
it.
email.
Yes, sir.
Right in the back.
Anyway, it's a
Acrosonic.
Acrosonic Baldwin, and it was donated from Cumberland Presbyterian Church in Allen, and it was because I don't think they got a new church, a new piano.
They had that one, the one at the fort that they used because of the Great Cricket incident of 2016, that piano was kind of good.
Full of cricket slang.
Yeah, and I got it, but all that decay and stuff after cleaning it out, it just, and the temperature fluctuation in the building is not good for those pianos, so anyway, they had asked me if I knew anybody that had a piano, and our church had already donated all theirs out, so they came up with this one, and they asked if they could donate it. I didn't think it'd be a problem, because they're just replacing the ones they use there, so.
Well, I'd like to move that we accept the donation of the piano from the Cumberland Presbyterian Church to Fort Belknap.
So moved.
All in favor? 4-0.
Yep.
Very good, appreciate that too. I hope there's lots of music played on it.
Me too.
Tell them to sing loud.
Item number 12, discuss, consider memorandum of understanding between the Office of the Attorney General and Young County for internet equipment router installation in the courthouse. I'll let our tech lady right here explain that a little bit. Officer number.
Well, basically what we have here is kind of an example of when the state come in with you, Nancy, and set their own stuff up, since you straight off, spend them to open that data. This is what's happening with the child support. They're setting their own router and everything else. That's gonna be no cost to us. The only cost that might incur with us is ever how much electricity it pulls, which will be very minute.
Yeah.
So it'll be up in, I call it George Burkle's old office, because I think Jamie uses it as a filing room and stuff like that. That's where we're gonna install.
Does this create any additional work for the courthouse?
Should
So moved.
Matter of fact, they're having their own internet, it'll pull, take some of our bandwidth, if we give it back to us, that they can pull it from us for child support, so.
It's kind of one
What are they gonna use?
And I understand, right, not all counties are going through this, some of them are just, they have to put it in and have that, but we agreed that we probably have more than
Right.
have.
They've been super nice people to work with. When she first contacted me, Jamie had given her my name and she would explain everything, and she said, most of the time we just come out and put it in, and they don't really pass it through court every time, but I felt a little more comfortable. After visiting with the judge, we thought, you know, this should be something that is passed through court.
You worried about their responsibilities to us or our responsibilities to them?
Well, I was worried about them more than us.
It's just the right thing to do, have it on paper. And I think they're probably gonna drop the Brazos over here also.
Mr. Wiley's already made a motion, I'll second it.
Well, motion by Commissioner Wiley, second Commissioner Sykes to execute memorandum of understanding between the Office of the Attorney General and Young County Commissioners Court for internet equipment installation. All in favor? No, it shouldn't affect us one way at all. Anyway, we're supposed to want to do all the installations, all the maintenance, if there's anything to be done. And they just need the location plan.
Sure.
Item number 13 is discuss, consider courthouse waterproofing, some basic IDIQ, basic IDIQ. And Don is, some of his people that he uses come down here and look at our circumstances down here on the southeast corner. Again, the proposal we brought up, I was a little bit surprised that it wasn't any more money. Yeah. I thought it would probably be more expensive.
Well, he doesn't have the excavation bill included in it.
Yeah, he expects us to give us the wages on it. I want to read that study along. I don't know what pleasure of the board is. I know it's not being a problem unless the ground gets really saturated. It doesn't seem, but it is evident that there is places that walls, foundations, something can be breached with water. Steve.
Where's the money coming from for this? Where's the money coming from for this?
Courthouse, will be coming to the courthouse,
Maintenance.
maintenance repairs, I think.
We got money in there?
That's grounds, I don't know what
Let me look at
we've
that
got
line
in
and see.
there.
510.
It might was like a budget move somewhere else there.
Well, I thought maybe we might, could wait until the fall and then put it in the new budget.
There's money in there right now in the 350 line to do this.
That's in there.
Well, we budgeted 30,000 and we've only spent about 3,500. So
That's what's
we
there
haven't
for.
had
Let's
any
make
big.
it happen.
Make it happen.
Let's go ahead and do it, get it done.
I move that we move forward with the IDIQ waterproofing courthouse.
I'll second that. Basically, what this is gonna do is leave all,
Same thing we did that corner over there,
this end,
Yeah.
basically.
where we left off, they're gonna begin. And there's gonna be some more things over here, that they're gonna go back and revisit, but
Tell Pete to get ready for more jumping jack.
So this is are $7,754.34 to be paid out of what?
Courthouse.
Courthouse, and ground.
Yeah, the 010, 510, 350, Shirley.
010.
510, 350.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Sipes and a second by Commissioner Wiley to approve the proposal as presented by Basic IDIQ on waterproofing the courthouse. For section courthouse. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. In the amount of $77,554.30.
What y'all talking about?
That's good. Maybe
No.
see if we can get those.
I had Marcia's
issues
glasses
cleared.
here, mine.
So,
And Marcia's looking at me, go, what?
Item number 14, discuss out-of-state travel. I think it's been discussed before.
This is a requirement of the SARA certification that I'm going through, and I'm about 2/3 of the way through, that I go to a national conference. This will be the closest one for about 3 years, and I have to do the national conference within the time period it takes me to get the SARA certification. So, we should have money for this in the contract funds that I bill the entities when I run their elections. So we really won't necessarily be out anything, but I need approval before I leave the state.
Your intentions are to fly.
So my intentions are to fly.
She said I could go with her.
Yes, Shirley offered to chaperone. Because anybody who knows me knows I need a chaperone.
What did he say?
You probably need to.
I'm not sure if Shirley should be the one to chaperone though. What did he
I'd like to go
say?
be entertainment director because I know some great places in New Orleans. You won't have time for any kind of
How much
cultural
of the cost
view from New Orleans. I'm sure.
Around $1,200, depending on flight cost. My intention is to fly in Sunday, go to class Monday and Tuesday, and be back by about midnight Tuesday night. I don't need to be gone much more than that, because we start school about the same time, and that's a lot for.
I think we did talk about this at our last budget time.
Yes.
Creating a budget. Did we build money in there then?
She said she did.
It's in my contract fund. It's a separate fund that I bill the entities, the administrative fees when I run their elections. So, there's, I don't know how much is in there, enough to cover this for sure.
Okay.
I would move that we approve the election administrator travel to New Orleans for SARA certificate.
Did she bring back some
Gumbo?
gumbo? Make too fade.
The hot beignets, that's gonna be hard to do.
I've seen the
Vignettes.
see already.
That was fried
CERA.
French pastry.
Not Sarah, like the website, but Sarah, like the elections.
Sarah.
Certified election, something.
Certified Election and Registration Administration.
There you go.
Registration.
Yes.
Beignets are a lot like so they'll be everything.
We're only gone 2 days.
It's about to be a lot.
I think they know.
Well, some of mine will be paid for.
I should go there.
You should go there. I really should.
I'm really not planning on moving around a whole lot.
Everything you do in the daylight.
I wouldn't down there.
Yeah, it's.
My son said that place.
Sheridan and New Orleans.
Yeah, it's nasty.
Dirty,
Like San Francisco,
dirty.
on the beach. Right in there. But you need. Yeah.
Okay, we've got a motion by Commissioner Sipes, second by Commissioner Rogers to approve out-of-state travel for Lawrence Sullivan elections. Young County Election Administrator for national conference pertaining to Sarah certification. All in favor? Carries 4-0.
Shirley, they forgot to say your name in the motion, I guess you don't.
I guess I don't get to go.
You can meet her there.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
so-
it.
Yeah, y'all have to pay.
Oh, that's what you said, okay.
That's what I wanted, y'all have to pay.
Item number 15 is discuss recent sale of building and
Yeah.
online auction at precinct number 1.
Yeah, reason I put this here, I thought maybe you guys might want to ask some questions about it. It went off pretty much without a hitch, Cheryl.
It did.
They were easy to deal with.
Very.
We sold the building for $100. The buyer paid a $12.50 buyer's premium. Have they paid us yet?
No, not yet.
They had 5 days from the end of the auction.
I had,
Haven't heard. And they will be coming after it. The only thing I suggest to you guys, if you got anything that's of questionable value or negligible value, this system here is very inexpensive to use
yes, we have a good.
and very
rep, Simon.
effective. And she said if had any items that were multiples or complicated items of some sort, he would come down and take
Yeah, he
photos
said that,
and
yeah. He'd come down
do
and
everything
it all
we needed.
for us.
Who bought it?
Hatch Company, a guy named Hatch out of Dallas, Texas, bought it. So you can see also it expands the area which you might get bids from it also. So I would suggest to Commissioners Court that they put that in their quiver of resources and tools to use to dispose of surplus equipment and materials.
And what size building was
18 by 24 wood frame building. It was really a very good building.
For
Last year,
$100, wow.
Yeah, the real cost is going to be getting it out of here and getting it home.
Yeah,
You know, and that relieves us of all that expenditure cost of
we
getting that
didn't
out
have
of
to
there.
advertise, the auction company did it all, so it saved us money on advertising.
I think our precinct cat pretty much has the rattlesnakes out from under it, but the work crew did find a small rattlesnake behind the building when they were mowing grass last time they mowed grass. So if anybody wants to see how many snakes are underneath it, I'll let you know.
Take pictures.
Take pictures. You don't want to be there when it's moved?
Nope.
You disappear and be.
Item number 16, we have
Wait a second,
excuse me?
Well, she has here a motion, are we gonna approve, or is there any?
There's no
action?
motion, it's just a discussion.
Oh, no action on that?
No action.
Thank you.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
just get down,
The details of it,
Thank you.
in case anybody had any questions.
just getting a report.
Mhm.
Item number 16, we dealt with initially earlier today. Item number 17 is discuss and consider requesting bids for chip seal 5.6 miles roadway in precinct number 1.
Yes, sir. I gave each of you a list of the roads that I am planning to ask for bids on to put chip seal down on. Just a matter of course, this money, of course, is coming out of the FEMA reimbursements that was given to precinct 1. So we'll see how much exactly this includes. Commissioner Rogers, would you like to include yours?
Yeah, if I can piggyback on,
Please do.
on this item. I got about 3 miles I need to advertise. I don't have it broke down per road, but it's about 3 miles.
I just did that just for detail purposes. But
So in the ad, I wouldn't
Is it
have to put
8.7?
each thing, just put 8.7 miles.
Commissioner
various
Precinct 1 to
roads.
pay for the whole ad. His idea.
That's not true.
It's your item on the agenda.
No wonder you piggyback. Get off my back.
Stacy, approximately how many
3 miles.
of various roads?
Single course.
Want to open on June 25th around 10 o'clock?
That sounds good.
You had that line, y'all had that line?
Yeah, he added 3 miles to it.
You'll have to specify some of the mics as double course. That county.
Yeah, 1/2 mile of mine was double course.
5.6 miles, 1 and 3 miles,
Precinct 3.
3.
The rest of it's all single?
Yes, ma'am.
say for approximately how many miles?
Probably 5.7 in precinct 1 and 3 miles in precinct 3. With 1/2 mile in precinct 1, double course chip seal. That's from where Lower Tonk meets Rosser Ranch Road on out to Highway 67 because of the weight of the traffic that's going through there currently.
Have any more questions?
No, gentleman came to see me last week, wanting to know what was going on. I told him I had no earthly idea. Said he had not received a date for a hearing, trial, or anything. His lawyer was unable to give him any information. He swore he was doing no gambling down there whatsoever, and I said, you know, somebody else has a different idea of what you call gambling, I suppose, so.
Is the restaurant still active?
Nothing's active at the moment, I don't believe. And he needs a source of income, so he's getting pretty pinched. He did talk about maybe leaving and opening another one somewhere else. It hasn't discouraged him from the business.
And
Hadn't seemed to.
well, as long as you folks get me out,
He mentioned you a couple of times.
he did.
Yeah. He said he had talked to you, and I think you basically told him you couldn't do it for him either.
Okay. You have a motion?
Yeah, I move that we put these roads out for bid for precinct 1 and precinct 3.
Second.
We've got a motion from Commissioner Sykes, second by Commissioner Rogers for 5.7 miles chip seal in precinct 1 and 3 miles chip seal in precinct 3. Is that correct? To advertise for bids. Request bids, okay? All in favor?
All right. By the way, the reason that ended at 5.7 rather than 5.6 I initially put on the agenda was because I went to the other end of Timber Bridge Lake Road to the right at the T intersection, thinking those folks would probably want theirs covered as well as the other side, so another 1/10 of a mile.
And show favor.
I know. I sure hope I don't get tangled up in a bunch of internet cable. And I'll start working on that road.
Okay, item number 18, discuss and consider burn restrictions. Everything looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, I think we're in good shape.
Yeah, the underground vegetation's pretty green right now. So,
We get 2 inches of rain out there Thursday night.
Four stents. Where's fire, I got a chance right here.
if I can just give y'all some information, just as a point of information, there is an application that you can put on your phone called Farm Logs.
Yes.
And you can define a field, and it will notify you when rain falls on that particular field, so you can be in San Antonio and know just exactly how much rain fell on your place.
How does it calculate that?
Weather map, same way the weatherman does.
What's it called?
Farm Logs.
Pretty good deal.
You use it?
I've got it.
Yeah. I've been using it for the Almond place.
We got, couple guys that own it underground, is it Weather Underground or whatever?
Weather Underground, yeah.
They got a station set up at their house where you're going.
Yeah, at their house, you can deal with this. This Farm Logs, you can put a designated square anywhere in the country, and it'll tell you when rain falls. It goes from their weather maps, you know, those are plus or minus.
Over the weekend down to, some little town down there. Sam Savage,
Since that, pecans.
Sam Savage Goldthwait is wet.
Pretty wet down there?
Pretty
Good.
Pretty good.
Better you go.
Hunting goats.
Take a break.
Yeah.
Before we do this. Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
we'll have.
Goes budget here.
Before we take a long, long time with that rifle.
Was there any action on the burn ban?
Go ahead and hand out these budget things.
Yeah, about 15 minutes.
The budget thingy and then Lauren's request.
No, we got to see.
She just made a request.
Well, she's full of requests.
She's full of it, all right.
Now, sign that MOU, I have instructions how to want it sent back.
Dang, that's gonna change all my exhibits.
I think Cheryl's got it.
Thank you.
What?
That MOU, I'll make that. I've just got to get this started.
Okay. Thought he was zapping my head,
Yeah, turn it off.
right through my head.
Did you say Lauren submitted something in writing?
That's part of what I gave you.
Oh, okay. All right. Here.
Are y'all gonna leave Matt Pruitt's? I'll just keep his. For the next hour. You gonna give all that to Matt?
No.
I'll just give this to
I
him.
mean, just pick it up sometime.
Well, that's what I wondered if he could pick it up. If I give this, it'll get
That's
lost.
terrible about his car, and right there at the hotel.
They
That's the
destroyed
best
it.
place to get your car stolen.
Yeah. Because they never visited.
Yeah, my brother-in-law went to San Antonio, had his family out, I went to the lobby, he was checking in, get his room, went back out to pull the car around to the room, and it was gone. Just that little length of time, 10 minutes probably.
You know,
That's scary.
when Charlotte was in Baylor, Rex checked in, pulled up. It was one of those that opens to the outside pretty close to Baylor, and forgot his laptop, went back out, just picked it up, broken into it, and everything was gone. Yes. He said, you could have been in 2 minutes.
At Baylor Hospital.
Yes. They're pretty close around there.
Prominent landowner on RT.
I'm an 80-acre landowner, have been for several years now. This is the watershed from the pond, so to put it there, just
That's what I buried it.
see how much. We got 100 less than the farm did.
Got a condominium out there.
Yes, and there may be.
Storm cellar, water well, and bullfrogs. All a country boy barn.
Good place, wasn't
Bullfrog.
Wolf. It's the northeast corner of RG, 80 acres, 81.1, something like that. Had an old oil field on one time.
it? Good. Northeast corner, that lies against.
3329 in RG.
I don't know where it is.
Commissioner keep the road in pretty good shape over there
You'll still have that place over?
too. No,
Yeah.
I've heard talk about that before. Okay, straighten me out here on, correcting these minutes.
This is the.
There's a
That's
certain
right.
way
was
of
not there,
seeing
not
it.
there, and
Shirley,
Stacy Rogers.
copy that down, we'll make her a copy.
Well, that's right.
And
Commissioner
then, and then the,
Science was not present.
No. Do they?
Right,
That-
And Commissioner Stacy Rogers was not there.
no,
Okay, just a
no,
copy.
just a copy, and then I'll go make copy.
Everything else
So they is correct. Is that all information you need for me?
Yes. Yeah, I think I'll work that up and then I'll let you know.
If anybody calls you, wants details.
You what? Hey Shirley, I put, here's the copy of the voucher sheet thing. And then I didn't know if you had made a copy of that or not, that general thing signed.
Yeah, I did. I have it, so that's why that was for you.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Will you just send me?
All right, so where are these now?
Here's your original to send back to them. I didn't know that part.
I'm gonna run down there right fast and see if I can get on. Can y'all buzz me when you're ready to come back?
Where you gonna be?
I'm gonna go down there and see if I can figure out how to fix those minutes.
Okay.
I'll have to copy with our commissioner's court meeting.
Ms. Cheryl, on my budget, I've got a year today. Double check all of them.
Okay, just take a tire gauge with us.
This is principal, so do we pay off a motor grant? I need to print.
40 more.
All right. Bye.
What's downstairs in that machine?
Your blood sugar's getting really low.
Were those downstairs in that machine?
No there's machine?
I never get anything else. I think,
I'm gonna pull the 5 seconds, we're gonna pull up line.
I haven't been in.
Let's try for sure with somebody. I sure don't do them all.
Oh,
I didn't realize that package had that many in
Timmy's
there.
got suckers on her desk.
Who does?
Timmy,
Timmy.
a big bag of them.
I guess that's true. We're gonna have elections. What do we do about
What?
handicapped doors? I guess we're grandfathered in for all of these in the courthouse? For
Yes.
handicapped people getting in and out?
But they can get in and out of this one down here.
We got one.
We have one.
Got one?
It's right, it's actually on the way, I would think.
But each individual courtroom door, anything doesn't have to be,
No. 'Cause all of
ADA
our
approved.
doors are.
I guess there's always somebody there to open them for them.
Mhm. And all of our doors are wide enough. We have handicapped restrooms on both floors, both floors. So
work with fire.
All right, I'm ready.
I had my board.
You don't think you can buy Kim off with a couple of video games and a gift certificate to McDonald's, do you?
Who?
That Kim Jong-un
Oh,
dictator of North Korea.
oh, yeah.
Larry Settle sent these prices this morning.
It's about what that
Did I
gentleman was talking about.
Did I
So-
give you a copy?
3 to 4 cents.
I saw it.
All right, Stacy, let me look at you here. See, we paid off, we made the belly dump of 19,000 each. Then we paid 38,950 on a 120 M2, and we paid 63,000 on a 120 M3. Then that made 139,000. And then we paid the interest, well, that's the principal. Principal. 37. This was the down payment, wasn't it? Because I took it, because you're financing it, so I took it out of the principal. So there's nothing, were these were payoffs too?
It's trade difference.
Trade, okay.
All of that's trade difference. This is just a regular payment.
But it wasn't broken down by, it was just the pay down.
It's actually money they're regular payment.
See, and I may have to look at that, and if some of it was interest in that much, then I'll have to, but I can do all kinds of things. Do I scare y'all? I should. Hey, Judge, on that thing for Don Dorsey, you don't have to sign anything on it, do you? I've got
I
a,
think so, on that. I might get one.
I've got a printout somewhere of that, but I didn't see where there was a signature required.
You know, Shirley, I hadn't thought about this last meal. We hadn't been having a lot of corn, have we?
No, we haven't.
That's just
That
what
was
I'm
pretty-
putting down
I
there.
know.
I thought that was pretty funny that they brought that up.
Yeah, it was. I couldn't figure out how to fix that, so
Okay.
she just had to do it. I think you already did that.
Stacy.
Or not present.
I think I've got one too.
Okay. I'll just put that with my, I mean, it's in the
Probably
packet.
maybe, tell him we approved that, we
Okay.
send something else, we'll.
This is the minutes that are okay.
Sure.
I sure.
We'll go with them.
Oh, well, now Stacy's just walking out on us.
Yes. I did.
Remember?
Yes, I did. Today is the 11th.
All day long.
Stacy, I need some gravel in that ditch in front of my gate.
And this one is the one that has the big red.
Good stuff.
I won't. Do I need to get stuck first before I ask? I'm just bragging on the condition of the road. Here you tell me that. When you get stuck, call me. I'll come get you out.
I remember when I was a kid, we get stuck walking down the county road with a wristband rock base.
Yeah. Middle trying to get them out.
Go road,
Yeah.
road.
You know, but I'd like rather be stuck in mud than I would sand. Over in Wise County, we used to get stuck in sand though. Dry sugar sand, it's like quicksand.
Okay, smile, you're on camera.
On camera, okay, hello.
We'll come back to order, Young County Court second and regular meeting. We have been recessed for about 17 minutes, and it is 26 minutes until 12:90. We're back in session with Nancy, our tax assessor collector. She has an urgent, critical problem that's dire all the way to the bank.
Exactly right. Well, we're back to square one over Dolly.
She's been infiltrated, and I think she feels cheated on.
That's exactly right.
She did.
Leave my employees alone.
What'd we do to him?
Laura quit. She's going to work for Stan.
Been robbing over there. Isn't it?
That's two of them he's taken, and I'm.
Well, it's the proximity there. Yeah.
So?
Go take one ahead.
Well, did he lose his?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
quit.
I could see that happening.
I knew that wasn't going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure wasn't working my own.
But you wasn't going to lose your, didn't think you were going to lose your other because of it.
He didn't want this spot.
There you go, stirring it up. So we're posting for a job?
Well,
You got
I've
somebody?
two options. Y'all can make it full-time, or close it down for 31 months and let the new tax assessor deal with it. I have dealt with it for 17 and a half years.
What kind of ramifications did you have if we shut it down? People calling and complaining that they had to come all the
They
way
can
down
go
here?
online, which people's gonna have to learn to do that anyway, or they can mail it in. Only got one dealer over there, he don't do that much, he can either mail it in, or bring it in.
I think I do something by mail. Matter of fact.
I do all I can by mail and by internet too. So, I don't know, Stacy, that's your community, what's going on?
Laura, have any clues, any ideas, prospects that might want a job over there?
She had one, but her husband wouldn't let her take it.
That's an old world attitude, isn't it?
You think there's still some men that's got that kind of control?
Well, that's what I was told, I don't know. What I get told and what's the truth is two different things.
I can just imagine me, don't mind, she can't do this.
And sleep. And sleep.
I'm done. Might not be able to talk for some longer time until I'm closed.
I think we need to post it somewhere.
You don't want to close it? 10th.
I think she's got another little problem there. I think we've got vacation things coming up. We've got people that's not gonna be in their office.
Yeah, I've got one on vacation this week, next week, and then Linda's gonna take another vacation.
Well, that probably, nobody else works in there before.
And I just,
You might have to close that up.
until I,
For sure, we'll have until we get all the employees back on the regular schedule.
and I'd like to, get them trained, get them hired and trained before all that comes. They're just gonna have to understand. how to do something right.
Judy, her situation is changing. I was wondering if she wanted to start back again.
Who?
Judy,
She's not in good health, and I don't think she will.
talked to her son the other day.
How many hours a week is it now?
It's 6.5. She works from 8 to 12 and then from 1 to 2:30, 5 days a week.
5 days a week? So it's a full-time position?
Full-time, part-time, what do you call it?
We call it part-time, full-time. She does have, it does have all the benefits, but it's
Does?
only like 32 hours. or something
32
like
hours.
that.
Oh, that's a perfect job for
Enough to have
somebody.
the insurance, so nearly full-time.
Then you have to deal with the people, can they learn it, can you trust them?
Sure. Fiduciarily and got customer service skills.
You might
Yeah,
hire
she gets the-
somebody and-
She gets the maximum part-time pay, which is $12 an hour, so therefore making.
Plus
it pay-
benefits.
It pays a lot, yeah, she gets benefits with it.
We need the office over there. My wife's office goes in there, buys trailer tags and stuff. They need to get on the road. They don't have time to be shut in.
Gonna have to give some incentive or something, to keep people over there, or keep people from stealing.
That's what we did last time, and so we got an employee benefit package so we could keep somebody.
Yeah, like I say, the incentive should be those
She,
benefits.
when I hired her, that's all she wanted, she didn't want no full-time job.
On benefits.
You know, we gave her benefits and all that.
Well, she get benefits with Stan, didn't she?
What?
She'll get benefits with Stan too, right?
And more money.
So she, more hours,
Yeah.
You know, get like double.
more
pay.
complaining.
Well, she'll get regular pay.
Well, might we get like more hours.
Lauren, you got anybody in mind?
Do you?
Okay. Oh, I think we need to post a job.
Well, if you're gonna take it, let us know before you go to New Orleans.
No, she wouldn't want that over there.
No, I think knowing some of the business that people do in Olney, I do think it's important to keep that open. It's also a pretty goodwill idea to keep as much open in Olney from the county as we can.
They're not very friendly.
How much business do you do with her?
They just-
Talking about you.
Some days she's real busy and other days, you know,
I'm talking about business during the year.
Just collect.
What percentage of your total business is transacted in on?
all I can do is bring in what she does or she might do 4,000 one day and the next day she might do 300.
Well, I understand that.
I mean, I can't
During the
give
course of the year,
You can look at the bank statements and see how much runs through that bank.
Is that office not kept separate out?
It's simple.
No, I can't give you a percentage, I mean.
No, but you could just look and say how much an average per month comes through there.
Well, I don't mind, I want to keep the office open, but just trying to train all the time, you know, that does get a little nerve-wracking, you know?
Isn't it kind of hardship to people when they're doing those farm tag things and all that, have to come all the way over here to get
But
it?
you know, it would be nice.
Yeah, hard on when they bought a new boat on Friday morning, Friday evening.
How long was she there this time? 3 years?
You know what I mean?
How many?
3
Weeks?
years.
She's been there a long time.
Years.
She probably been there longer than, I guess the next longest one would have been Mrs. Judy.
Now, Jane Strobel was there for a while. She was there for long. Jill.
When it's posted, there'll be somebody in Longville taking, I mean, it's perfect for somebody with
Good job.
kids. I mean, somebody takes their kids to school and then be out at 2:30 or 2 o'clock, whatever it is. And you can-
You know, go to the night,
I mean, it's my opinion, they need to be there during the lunch hour, 8 to 1:30. Do you disagree with that every time? You don't
I didn't
trust them?
disagree, the employees over
You
there
don't
didn't
trust
like
them.
being
Laura,
over.
Laura doesn't care, she would rather go ahead and put in full time instead of having to come back for an hour.
I mean, that's all they complain, because they didn't want to be there an hour by themselves. I don't have a problem with that, but you gotta keep people sometime, some way.
8 to 1, 8 to 1:30, you know, just straight time, that'd be a perfect job for somebody over there.
Post it and see what we come up with. And the other, like I said, you had two solutions. Closing's not the good one. You know, I'd be closing it. They say the community needs the service. So.
There's lots of folks that work all day that cannot come over.
I was raised in a rural county where everybody had to go to Decatur for everything anyways.
It's kind of handy having Laura there if there's a major question and Nancy's not available, and we could ask Laura.
Reckon, when are you gonna open?
Should we do it with the
When are you
kiosk?
gonna open office in Decatur?
Like the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's up to y'all, I don't have no say so on that. Y'all
Well, they have a choice of going to Aldi or coming to Graham.
I used to, well, about
We got the funding.
60 or 70 years ago it was.
Yeah, they used to sell them over there.
Yeah, sure did.
What's your recommendation?
Mine,
Yes.
close it.
Close it.
Close it for 31 months, let the new tax assessor.
Don't worry about it.
come in, and they can have the headache. That's my opinion.
Well, I wanna know how much businesses, what are 10%, 20%, 15%, or
You got those numbers?
how many, you know, how many dollars worth of business you do a year?
Well, I can go add it up, I don't have it in my head.
You know, how much, how many dollars worth of business comes out of the office? That information would be pretty good to know, just for all of us, really.
What? Give me the percentage, give me go get the things done. I can't get the percentage because I don't know. It's all added up together.
Well, I know it is, but can you tell, do you have it, you can tell what comes out of the Molly office, I guess.
I've got her, that's what she does.
And then you've got the total. You've got what comes out of the Graham office, and then you've got a total of all your business. It would be too difficult to figure what percentage it was hanging out there. And that would be, that would be a factor, could be a factor in
determining.
decision making. Or if that office maintain, they don't, then fail. You know, 5% of business, that's only 5% come out of the Army office.
It'd be worth keeping open.
Be worth it to keep it open, but 20% of the business deal, it's likely need to keep that open.
And go run you a report of what we do, each week.
That'd be something that would be very useful in making these kinds of decisions.
Cause it tells what we do, and it tells what she,
Do that for a whole month or 2 months in a row. Or do the whole year. Yeah, you just
I
do
can
that
go in there
whole
and
year.
run the report now for last year.
All the stuff's seasonal.
Okay. You do the whole year or
Whatever.
last year, that gives an idea then.
I can do one for the first, 5 months of this year. 5 months of last year.
Okay.
Stacy, are you saying it's worth subsidizing that office anyway?
Yeah, I do. There's lots of people that go in there and use that office.
Even if it's being operated at a loss?
Sure, yeah. And the office itself's really not costing us anything, it's just the labor and,
Where is it, in the Southern Courthouse?
well, there'll be a point there where, you know, not need to stay open.
Might just need to be open one day a week.
Right, but there you go with the.
Yeah, that cost us so much as we had to pay somebody to drive over there and drive back.
That'd be a
And she
good
was
decision.
doing-
We need to find somebody over there.
If there wasn't,
They won't come for one
if
day
there
a week.
wasn't 5%.
They won't come in one day a week?
Business activity.
No, somebody,
No.
I'd learn all that for one day a week.
You've got to,
$12 an hour.
$20 is that
wouldn't even be worth over
$5?
now.
All it is, got to do.
It's just hard for somebody
Yeah.
to do it one
They
day a
couldn't
week.
catch on and
Nah,
remember
people wouldn't-
everything.
No, you gotta do this every day in order to
Yeah.
retain.
Yeah. Well, I think they do a fair amount of business over there.
Do what?
They do a fair amount of business over
Some
there.
days she does, some days she might do one registration. I've had her to do one registration.
Like payday's gonna be a new, people get paid
Yeah.
when their taxes.
Third of the month,
the
Social
last-
Security check.
The last of the month before all the taxes are due.
Yeah, it's seasonal and
23rd.
payroll.
I don't know, she may be working in the afternoon. I don't know.
Don't we have a revenue line for her office?
Becky gone?
She's big old dog.
She
yeah.
just
It's all
yeah,
up
it's all
together.
together, we had to
She's
took it
gone.
off.
take that from over there and divide it by what we made.
No way to code it different.
That's what I like.
Show
Have to
it
put a
a
different-
subline into that
Well,
one.
we could pull a vendor line.
Well, obviously, the office is gonna have to take a vote.
She put it
I'm not gonna open that.
Yeah, isn't it an A and a B?
It's too hard.
One of the two?
to do that. They can, like I say, they can go online, and they can mail it. That's too much
Well,
responsibility.
after 9 days, you know, 9 days, it's gonna. 2 to 4 hours.
Benefit package is worth
Hard enough.
16?
You don't, we can't tell you that. We can't tell you that.
You got it, you told me that was my office, I just went like I went to, so.
Mine went
That's
out,
what
I
it's
just
gonna
called
be.
unemployment.
Well, shut her down then.
What am I to do?
You can do it.
31 months, you knew we could take it.
They can make another decision then, man.
Right.
Okay, we'll take these things under consideration. If you could get that information there for whether it's 6 months or a full year or
I'll
8
do that.
months or whatever.
Ann's going to look at some numbers on it.
Yeah, Ann went to pull something that she had, I think, that played the figure it out.
Yeah. I'd like to see them stay open too, but I'd like to see them.
Well, I don't mind it being open, it's just, this is ridiculous.
You've had 3 people since I've been here, Nancy, right? So it's not ridiculous.
So you can tell you how many of them have?
I don't care.
Well, what then? You don't care, well,
I already know. We need it open over there. I'm telling you.
okay, what the new tax assessor comes in, they shut them, shut it down. Y'all have say for in there? Before you can't keep up on this. All right. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Sullivan. Come up here.
Money.
Hopefully mine will be faster. Because this is a 2-election year, not a 4-election, so this should be a little bit cheaper.
Notice the numbers are a little bit less.
Let's see if we cut everything in half.
No, not everything.
Well, she cut a lot of it in half.
Yeah, I've tried to cut quite a bit of it.
I've got your land on my desk, working on it, so.
Elections expense from 22,600 to 4,500.
That scares me if you're in there twiddling. I've made the commitment to you guys before that I try to run this as tight as I can. A lot of this is mandated that I have no control over. The little bit of wiggle that I do have, I try to keep it cheap. So, we use stuff till it wears out for the most part. Saying that, I'm gonna have to replace a bunch of signs because the wind has torn them up, and they were just little plastic, like campaign signs anyway, so it didn't take much. But for the most part, we should be pretty low this year. A lot of the temporary and election workers on that second line will be billed back to whatever entities have elections. I really just took the last 2 odd years and kind of averaged them out, because there's no telling how many of my 9 entities may have a May election. The elections expense, that $4,500, depending on how many entities run elections, I'll be able to build some of that back. Will only be out our cost for the gubernatorial election that comes in November. So, I have to build it in as an expense, but we get some of it back on the back end. So, and then for some machines, I think this is the 3rd year we're paying on those, 2nd or 3rd year.
This will be.
Second, yeah.
Yeah, so, but that's a built-in cost that we assessed at the time we bought the machines. So, we did get new poll pads. Shirley, I think, loved them. They made my side a lot faster, a lot easier. I can do some reports and some cost-benefit analysis. So that was helpful. I am keeping tabs on how much we're spending per hour as far as poll workers versus voter turnout. I think that's an interesting number to watch.
Yeah, that's a good cost figure to look at.
Yeah. November, we will have extended hours for the weekend and 7 to 7s all that second week. We've already been given that petition, and there's no wiggle in that. So that's an extra 35 hours of payroll that we have to take into account. So we cut where we can, and we do what we have to do with the rest. So.
Voter expenses, you got down almost 90%. What's the deal there?
I don't have to do a mass mail out this year, so instead of sending out 12,000 voter registration cards, I can send out whatever updates are done.
But
So,
that's a number that will go up in a different election year.
yes, even years it goes to 4,000.
Yeah, they all.
Yeah. Everything's on an even year schedule, so in odd years it's great, and in even years
I
it's
see
terrible.
that. So this budget's not always level.
No, it's never
It's
level.
up and down.
And, should something crazy happen and the governor call a special election, that's not in this budget. I do not budget for that. I don't think it's fair to the taxpayer to.
Pay tax on the,
Yeah.
something may or may
Play
not
with my
happen.
crystal ball. Told somebody the other day, my crystal ball's broken, so. Kind of fuzzy, kind of cloudy.
Somebody might, they don't break the permit.
There's 3 schools in there. One of them is to finish the SARA certification, and then the SOS and the association meetings are in there as well. Each one costs about $1,500, just round it out. And then I've talked at different times. I am in that hallway by myself on a regular basis, where the building is still open, but I'm the only one on that floor. It's quite an uneasy feeling, especially when certain commissioners come by and bang on the door.
Certain commissioners, I don't know who she's talking about.
That main one down there.
Me and far end?
Hears things in her head.
That's the other thing, is this is a very creepy building when you're here by yourself. So there is a code in there for a go keyless magnetic lock type thing with a release button.
Do you not have a pistol?
I'm not eligible to carry because I'm a polling place. My office is a polling place with open live ballots, and so I'm going to take that to call it a polling place, and I think that deems me ineligible, even though my 327 Federal Magnum works just fine.
Says, yes, I do have a gun, but it's not with me in that office.
That's it. So, and quite honestly, should something happen and somebody walk in, and I've had it happen several times where people just walk in and they're right here before I even know they're in the room, I don't have time to reach for anything, panic button, gun, etc. So, Travis and I talked about it when he was in there on election night. I have enough anxiety, so I don't need to add random people walking in and scaring me half to death to that.
So this would require permission for entry?
Yes, it would have like a ring system, like some of the other offices, where I could see who's at the door and could find out if they're asking directions to another office, or to borrow my pen for 15 minutes and sit in my office during lunch while I'm there by myself. Just some odd things happen in that room, but it would allow me to converse with somebody before I let them in the room.
Does that mean you'd have your door closed?
The glass door could stay open. It would have a magnetic lock at the top of it, in the way I'm envisioning it, so people would know I was in there, but I would also be able to see them without,
Like it is upstairs in the district.
right, without having to make a whole lot of contact. And I know glass door's not going to stop much, but it buys me a second or two.
Yeah.
We, for the runoff election, we sectioned that off just a little bit the first time. These gals brought up that idea.
I think it worked.
I
I
thought
thought
it
it
was
worked great, didn't you?
It did.
We
And
come up
very
with
well.
that because the lady walking
Better,
in just
much
ran
improved.
on us.
There will be a lot of changes before the November election. As I go, I learn. I've implemented some things since the primary. I've implemented things since the runoff. There will be a lot of new check-in procedures on election night. I have had a deputy with me for the last at least the last year or so. At least one deputy, if not a couple. They both assist in security and they help bring in equipment. They've gone and run short errands for me. I have 2 hands and 2 feet, and so I'm doing the best I know how, but that extra little bit of security helps a lot. But yeah, like you said, we cordoned off that hall quite a bit, and that helped. And so hopefully things will continue to go more smoothly.
Got the video board cured up a little bit. Looks like that worked real good during the.
So far, so good.
There's a couple of little
Signal
changes.
problem?
Yes, the vending machines and the way they're wired.
Interfering with that?
Mhm.
Bluetooth signal?
It was a mess.
Yeah,
There's some-
it continues to be a surmountable
No way to
mess.
shield that stuff?
We think we've taken care of it. There's a few little glitches that I think we're probably gonna work out, but, it went great this last time.
I understand you're dealing with a lot of impatience on election nights, and people want to stick their head in your office and somehow hurry you up or
Well, we had a.
find out to be the first one to know.
Yeah,
They couldn't this time. and it
yeah,
was
they
much
couldn't
better.
this time.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be.
And again, that's part of the reason for security. In fact, I turned around and looked at Travis on primary night, and I said, get them out of my office now.
Hurried numbers tend to be of lesser value than numbers that take.
And that's absolutely accurate. My job requires that I'm accurate, it requires that I'm somewhat focused, but I also have 30 people walking in and out at any given time, phone ringing, that sort of thing. I've finally gotten the news channels to stop calling me every 10 minutes.
I thought you.
That was Shirley can tell you, it's really hard to run numbers when your phone's ringing.
You're not telling us you get distracted.
I do. I can tolerate quite a bit, but, it does get wild at times. So,
So your ADD kicks in?
yeah. You have 30 people stomp in your office and then tell me.
Oh, one at a time's plenty.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're all anxious too. I tell people all the time, I'm just as stressed out as
You're
any of the
anxious, man.
candidates.
I broke down a ball one time.
I
That work?
generally end up.
Yes.
throwing
It
up
worked,
about
I'm
it.
out there.
No,
Don't you feel better?
well, I don't know, they just said, oh my gosh.
I may try that.
Cheryl, you think computer lease stuff will change this year much?
I don't know, because she doesn't have that same net.
I don't have any, I'm not connected to anything anybody else in the building.
Data maintenance, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
what
all
that-
under us.
Okay, do you have a
Courthouse
copy?
security,
I'm
You
sorry.
got a copier?
does that work for her?
I have a
Money out of courthouse security, would that work for that door?
copier, yes.
Oh, I'm sure we
She
don't.
doesn't have the least copy.
Yeah, I don't have a
She
lease
didn't have to
copier. I
put it
have
in
a
the budget?
desktop, printer, copier, scanner, fax,
That's all
all.
you need, you don't need a good one.
If there's anything big to run, she'd come up here and
Yes,
run it.
I come
We'll
up.
charge it to the judge.
I come up if I have a big run, but I
Why
don't
did you
carry
ask
them.
that? Why'd you ask that?
Because of the budget. You got $1,500 on the copier.
Is that a full
Each
total
person's
install and
name.
everything, $730?
Well,
Certain tax rate.
the way I talked to the guy, and this has been a little while, and I might have slept an hour or two since then, but, it's supposed to be kind of plug and play, where you plug in a piece into the outlet, and then there's also a piece that fits into the door. I know a good electrician if we have to have one, but I feel fairly confident that the guys can do this, or we can find somebody within the county that can run a couple of screws and maybe a little easy wire.
Okay, is this anything like what the JP has going on?
It's similar.
A lot.
Okay, is there any difference in cost?
Theirs is quite a bit cheap, quite a bit more expensive, because I think theirs runs through their telephone.
It
line.
is, it's part of their phone set. Their screen is on their phone.
This is similar to what we had at Virginia's house. It was just as good. It took no money. And if like on election night, I know it's gonna be a busy night, I can unplug the thing out of the wall and take off the magnetic part of it, and people can use the door to bring in equipment and such.
You got a keypad with it or anything?
I don't remember if it was a keypad or if it was a
Card, slot?
wild thing,
Okay.
It's got a crash door piece so that I can get out. There's an intercom system.
What's this deal here?
That's like the video piece so that I can see who's at the door and talk to them before they come all the way in.
How do you get in?
That's what I was looking for. I don't remember if it was a key swap or this looks like there's a keypad, maybe.
Or a little video screen, but
Oh, it looks like a keypad and everything. Yeah.
Comes with all this,
Don't
some
say
big doors,
keys.
wooden doors, nothing.
Wires, doors, and electronics, right?
Glass door, complicated door.
Okay, but you're gonna need a video screen. You still got the glass door there.
Yeah, because I can't hear you if you're talking.
Hey, on that thing, like if you weren't here, could you look on your phone and see who?
I think so. I think that was
See
part
that, I
of
mean,
it.
that would be good to have.
And that would be handy, for.
You know, the ring that does that. like
Yes.
the kind of the ring.
And
What,
and
an
that's
app on
part
the
of what I was
phone?
looking at.
Right, I put it in the district, out of the district judges, and
And they see.
it was like $69.
Yeah, it's not expensive to do something like that, and I'm perfectly happy with something like that too. I got this particular quote really more for a jumping off point to get us talking about it. We installed something fairly similar at our church building not long ago. We don't have the ring system necessarily, but we have the magnetic locks and the entry points and that sort of thing. I'm scrappy, but I probably couldn't take somebody down very easily.
does that mean everybody comes by and visit, gonna be buzzed in?
Yeah, they'll probably have to at least let the other company.
If you don't want them in, you say, go away.
Yeah, that's it, go away. Untouched.
So there's a doorbell out there.
Yeah, it would be a doorbell. Because like I said, I've had several instances of people come in and literally be on top of my desk before I knew they were even in the door.
So if they don't bring you mail-in ballots, or buzz you in.
They're supposed to mail them ballots anyway, so. If I could
That
get
was the
people to
irony of that
understand
statement.
Get people to understand. So,
I've had people come in right there, just like that too, there's something come through the, all Southern standing around that door.
yeah, I had a man a couple of weeks ago come in and ask to borrow a pen, and then he made himself at home in my office for 15 minutes, and I was quite uncomfortable because I had no idea who this person was, or why he was there.
Yeah, we're fond of calling this people's house.
Just being step right outside the door there. So
No, I didn't really want to get into altercations with people.
I guess taxpayers think they own the place.
I've been asked for copies in the last couple of weeks for eviction notices, which I have nothing to do with ever. So,
We have adult probationers come in our office and
yeah,
we'll go one floor up.
yeah, I
I
get
get
a lot of,
every day.
I get a lot of directions.
It's the same location in one floor.
One
Right,
floor.
yes. I get a lot of people asking for directions.
Scary.
I've threatened to put travel agent on my front door, so, you know.
Building information.
Building information, travel agent. So, like I said, I'm perfectly happy to look for other options, but this was something I just kind of found in digging and.
Well, something simple, this simple at that price is. I don't think.
I don't care necessarily brand names, I'm looking more at price.
I don't think we need to add it to the budget though.
Do 15.
Since it's the building.
Way too down.
That's not my decision to make.
Yeah,
I throw it
How
out.
durable is it? How durable is it? Does it last? Will it last?
I think so, I mean, with this, I mean, I don't get a
That's a
ton
good
of
question.
traffic.
That's a good question.
I don't get a ton of traffic. There are days where I see the mailman and the maintenance guys, and that's all. There are other days where I think I need a revolving door. It's a lot like what we were talking about with Nancy's stuff. It just depends on what day it is and what's going on in the world. As far as durability, I don't know how long it will last.
Does the jail have any problem with their doors? Does the jail have any problem with their doors?
Well, we do.
I mean, those things lock and unlock 100 times a day.
Well, we're actually having problems right now, but it's 10 or 11 years old.
That's good,
And
that's a good
it's-
life
and
though.
it's a constant, so there's a lot of difference.
I think the wear and tear on mine would be much different.
System than this too is
Oh, I mean, it's a lot more expensive.
It's not a magnetic, I guess it's a magnetic thing, but.
I bet it's a bolt though.
Magnetic that closes the latch.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a,
I can imagine what that was like.
the one that we installed at the church building, it does latch something along the way, I feel sure. But it's a super heavy duty.
You just want something to slow them down, hesitate for a little while.
Exactly, I do. I want some warning as to who's walking in my office. Especially after we had all the kerfuffle a couple of weeks ago. It made me nervous, I'm not gonna lie.
But you're as secure as our school children.
Yes, I am. And as a mom, that.
Bothers you too? Okay.
I don't need any more anxiety here.
Okay, no more interested in 9573.
That is the payment on the voting machines.
Yeah, that's constant, there's nothing else in there.
No, that is the licensing fees for the poll books and the payment for the voting machines.
Those are fixed expenses,
Those are, I think we paid
at least until it's paid off.
less than $400 less. So, it's not something that's going away for 3 to 4 more years.
Start,
But it is, the voters have told us they like the machines. Poll workers have told us how much they like the machines. I feel much more secure with the information coming out of the machines. I feel like they're going to turn on when I plug them in. I'm not spending a ton of money on maintenance. In fact, everything right now is still under warranty, so we're doing really well there. Hart has been more than accommodating with anything we have asked. If something seems to not be working exactly right, they have taken care of it and sent me a new one, and life goes on. So
keep plenty of extra batteries?
I do, and those are minimal expense, they're,
Less costly than the previous ones?
they're not much different, $50, $60 a piece, but they have longer lifetimes, and they are rechargeable, which is something very different from the last ones. They're a lot like the ones in your cell phone, so not big double D packets. So most of my costs are fixed, as far as that kind of stuff goes. But
This primary election, the parties, they have the initial cost of the election.
They pay election day, they pay supplies, and they pay, ballot production, and I can charge them $5 per machine for rental. There's very little I can pay, or I can ask for.
Okay. What about the early voting expense?
Early voting is always the county.
Always on the county, regardless of what.
The May local elections, that is charged back to the cities and schools, but the party elections, early voting is always us. And so, that's part of why I kept the cost benefit analysis on the voter turnout, especially for those extended hours, because those extended hours get really expensive in a hurry. I'm talking $10, $12, $15 per voter. Those Sunday afternoons are bad. Not a lot I can do about it. I did find during a webinar the other day that I could possibly cut back to 2 people during early voting if I know it's going to be slow. And if they get busy, I'll move to where they are. That's part of the fun. So this is a very fluid situation when you try to save money and take care of voters all at the same time. So
Year to date, you've only been reimbursed $2,800, because you invoiced for those other elections
I just
already.
invoiced the other day. I was waiting on all my final bills, some publication bills, some.
How much ballpark figure did you invoice for?
I invoiced for, look, I have a report. I was so excited. I anticipated. Looks like I invoiced for somewhere around $17,000. Payroll was about $5,500 for those elections. And then each entity had a $1,500 bill for their ballot production. So, and that was 4 entities. I have not done primary finance yet. That is on my agenda for the week because I just finished getting all those numbers in. So the state is now paying rather than the parties, so we should see money turn around pretty quickly.
You need about 10,000 more. Think you'll get it.
From the state, yes. That's the good part of having the state pay is the state will pay.
That's all I'm good.
Okay.
We're gonna hack in on this thing.
You make me so nervous. You and your whittling now.
He's just one of us, the rest of us will too. Just
I know, that's all of them. Mr. Calculator, Mr. Banker, and Mr. Yes. All right.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank y'all.
I just went around this weekly report for last week. Okay, this is what Laura did last week, but that was a busy week. We're always busy the first.
870691.
And we did the
8706, and you did how much here?
60,000.
60,000? 68,000, that's about 15%.
But now that was the busy week.
I understand, that's a high.
Now I can go run one, like for the 3rd week.
Right.
Then
You guys always do around 60 here?
Oh.
Is that an average week?
you never know.
I understand, but what's an average week? Yeah. It's kind of like running a restaurant, you never know
You never
what's your average. Because you got to base your future on what your averages are.
Okay, about 12.5%.
Now for that week. This was the total of everything. it's not broken down, it's just, it tells everything that we did. The fee at the very bottom, that 1 million and something dollars. That was weak, that's 6 months last year.
We bring plus for 6 months.
Do what?
$1 million plus for 6 months.
So you average probably 2 million running through your office a year.
I mean, and the sales tax alone sometimes is $2 million. That's separated from what the registration. Which is it won't break it out of the year, I have to do each week. in order
This
to-
is not broke out in branch.
No, this is 6 months. This is both of them. What I'd have to do on that is to run it every week. I might could do the bond.
Do you have a file of all those reports in it? Do you have a file with weekly reports that are already in it? Do you keep those weekly reports? So it'd just be a matter of going through 52 weeks?
So anyway, there it is. Anything else?
Good
No,
number.
that's good. Good information.
Thanks.
They average 50,000 a week. That would be,
We got to, you need to get with her to get.
Can't make the bird look on your face.
She knows
And I also, have a connection to Texas Workforce that I can get with her.
that. And Lauren might know somebody.
yeah, I like the local
Want me to put
knowledge.
it on the
so much.
website?
My wife would love to have a job, those hours, but.
I
What
work
are the
today,
hours?
Conflict.
like 9 to
1:30?
30 or 2.
Every day?
They being here.
Yeah.
But I
But
guess
with-
you break for lunch.
They just
With
let them.
benefits.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what
Wow.
Stacy
Yeah,
said.
and
they
with
would
benefits.
bring-
Might take that off. Just back.
That's $12 an
Shut
hour
up, my thing.
Uh-huh.
With insurance.
with insurance.
I know it's-
Dang, that's a good deal.
It is a good deal. That's what I was
You'd
sitting
like
there
to do
thinking.
that, wouldn't you, Shirley?
Yeah.
Fire and fire.
Not where I live, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So she comes back, leaves for lunch and comes back an hour.
For an hour, yeah.
See, they need to work on through that hour.
Yeah.
I could.
I'd add an hour to the day, just let them off at 1:30, let them work through.
I think
Lunch.
Nancy was worried about
She's afraid they're
security,
gonna get robbed because that's the
It's-
only one in the building.
Think she's gonna.
which they have panic buttons just like we
She
do.
claims it's not.
Well, I don't see why anybody
They
would.
can do more business during the lunch hour than they'll do.
Well, that's when-
one and
Absolutely. Freedom offices were always
And
open during lunch for
she
business.
knows that from down there, that they're
That's
very
one of
busy.
the-
6.6 million, based on her figure, like there, if they do 50,000 a week. You know? And if that office does, what's that, did 8,000 last week, they do 5,000 a week. 30,000, that's, like I said, about 12%. 12%.
When's the next budget meeting, Judge? Will it be on the 25th or before? The next budget?
Next budget meeting,
Is it on the 25th or will we have one?
before then.
Yeah, no, I don't have a copy of that calendar.
I will be gone Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to the GOP state convention, so if anybody needs me,
This week?
Yeah.
So is that other girl already gone from?
No, she told Nancy, 2 weeks, or she said, I'll give you 3 if you need it. Stan is handling things himself for right now, so.
So they're the only 2 officers in that building.
But the police
Adult
department is
probation.
right there.
And, yeah, and
Back
even
on
the
25th.
DPS in there?
No,
18th, the 25th, and the 9th.
18.
The constable took an office over there too.
Yes.
I won't be here for the budget meeting on the 25th, but Marcia will be here in my place.
That's a regular commissioner's court meeting.
Yes, sir. Couldn't be helped.
Colorado?
Yes, Mom and Daddy's going to France, so
Wow.
for some reason they don't want to take the kids.
See, I don't know, that sends you an email. The preliminary,
We got it right here.
printed out one, but I thought maybe I might have seen.
I didn't see it sent one yet. We wanna work on any of this first part,
Looks like estimated, maybe about $5 million.
More? Did you see what the freeze adjustment factor is?
Freeze adjustment factor.
963,487,000.
Is that more than last year?
Last year was 625.
Yeah.
Got 50% more?
925.
Oh, 925, okay. So it's 40,000 more?
40,000.
Yeah. Million. That is something. And you see, that's the thing about this, it's going to continue to increase every year because that's, we're becoming a
Yeah, she's been out.
Over 65 society.
yeah, retirement community.
Yeah, that's not good for a retirement community, is it?
She
It
gets
really
to
is.
stand off, she's still gonna be gone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she said the hours are 9:30 to 1:30.
Is that right?
What are the hours, Nancy? I don't.
That's hard. Nancy, what are the hours?
What are the hours over on
8 to 12 and then 1 to 2:30. Here's my complaint. She did 31,000, we did 319.
Is that when, what time, night?
The whole of the month. Looks like that'd be a good job for somebody who's like retired or semi-retired. A lot of mine came and done it at lunch. It wasn't me, it was the people that I hired. They didn't want to be over there by themselves. Well, I just tell them.
That's part of the job.
That's part of the job. You're open
But then they
during the
quit. Then what do you do?
Well,
Well, they
you tell
didn't
them
use the job
before
to begin
you
with.
hire them.
Yeah.
You tell them before you hire them.
Tell them better than Super Six, better than Circle K.
We're down to 9%.
It's just, you know,
Yeah, 9% what I
it's just,
got.
it fluctuates. I can't.
Yeah, when you hire people, Nancy, you just say, here's the job, here's what it's gonna require, and here's what it's like. So if you want it okay, say no, go hire, go look for somebody else. Just keep looking.
Hire them, they work 6 months.
Well, they'll lie to you. That's okay. You can't do that. I mean, we have the same problem with crew hands too.
Yeah, the guys had to hire them.
It's easy to quit this time of year when temperatures are 108.
No kidding. Hey, that's one, another selling point, it's on the inside.
It's on the inside. And it's there every time they come to work because the county's not affected by oil prices or recessions or, you know, the job is consistent.
Her mother's been sick.
I would like to sit in the camera, you know, see what they do.
You do that. It's easy enough to do. You can put it on your
I
phone.
would like to know if they're, you know, are they in the office? I can't go up there. Are
Well,
they-
you can put one in. I've got one in my office. I can look at it right now. You know, I'm talking to those guys and they say they're out in the shop working. I can tell whether or not they're really there.
Camera?
Camera.
Yeah.
We put one at the extension, at the front of the extension office and
I have one at my house.
as long as you don't put audio on it, and then if you put audio, you gotta have an agreement with the employee.
No, I don't want that. I just want to see that they're in the office and they're working.
Right.
Because I can't go there every day,
Sure.
see what time they come to work.
Exactly right. And people will only do what you hold them to.
I'm cold,
Are you?
yes. You need anything else?
Strange.
No, that's strange. Those chew
I
bumps.
know, most people don't think you're hot.
Man, I can never, because I'm ready every
That's
week.
monthly report here.
Now I can go get my, because I'm ready every week.
Are you getting cold as you get older?
I've always been cold.
Open cold now.
If you want to come down sometime, we'll go over.
Bring you a little sweater.
I've got one out in the car. We're gonna be ready for lunch or what?
See what the
It's
nation
not
is.
adjourned.
Oh.
Probably, we're going to adjourn for lunch or we're going to continue to work. But
We're gonna adjourn for lunch and then come back or what? I don't know if you wanna go.
we can get started.
Some of the expenses, I mean, some of the revenues, you wanna work on revenue and stuff?
Yeah, we have worked on revenues. Oh, I don't care. do whatever y'all want to do. That's right.
Better get as much out of her as we can.
You better, 'cause
Well, if you're financial folks, unless you're financial folks, get together and get a preliminary on revenue.
okay. Yeah,
We've got,
we can sit
we've
down.
got a preliminary value that we can use for tax purposes there. I think the certified value due to the end on the 25th of July.
It usually doesn't vary a whole lot off of the preliminary.
25th of July, seems like that's on. That's on.
It's like a Tuesday or Wednesday,
It's a Wednesday.
because we go that
That's the
TCDRS.
last Wednesday of July.
Last Wednesday of July.
Yeah.
There.
That's all else, Wednesday. And then we're pegged on the 7th to calculate the rates. David Wheeler.
Yes. What time on the 8th? 7th?
That's,
Was it an afternoon?
That's Tuesday.
I may have written it
She can make your head swim, can't she?
down.
She's fun to
Yes,
listen
she's
to.
awesome.
She's a pretty smart lady.
Anytime
She
she
did
presents-
training over at the appraisal district for us. We went through the school formulations for taxes. They've got it bogged down.
That woman's got it.
She knows it all, doesn't she?
She's spoken at the auditors conference there. Well, she did in Austin in May. She did from another thing out here at the Wildcatter. And I mean, and then someone else spoke this last time, and she knew her. I'm trying to think if she had worked with her. She
Talked
said
to her
how
about
was-
coming through all these specific formulations for taxes and stuff. I said, but you're starting with arbitrary numbers. So, I mean,
Her mind is sharp.
change
She's
the number
worked
on
for the
the front
comptroller.
end, change the number.
Yeah. She's a smart.
But it ends up at the right one.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is though, you don't start with the right one. You know? I mean, Austin doesn't know everything.
Really?
They tell you what they want that number to be.
That's right.
Yeah.
And she starts at that number they tell her to be.
Yeah.
And then they hold you to the one at the other end.
Yeah, but just what you're doing.
They're working it backwards.
Mandates, right
It's on the mandates, yeah. You know? They want the taxes to be right there, so they don't have to send as much money down this
That's
way.
right. There's a means to the end. Means to the man.
Madness it is.
Let's go get us about these, and we'll come back to a little bit more on it. Go from there. We'll just, we'll dive into it.
Now, I don't have copies of the requests I have for y'all yet from everybody else. But we work on like non-department.
Yeah, let's work on all the stuff that we work on, and we'll get that part started.
Okay.
We'll come back and.
Is that what all this is, Cheryl, right here?
That is the budget.
Yes, that's what we'll be
And-
writing in on.
Marcia, do I need to make you a copy of this,
Sign. You gotta get the sign.
John, you want to push the
of that
ball, bud?
agreement?
Which one? I've got the original.
The memorandum of
I've got the
What's
understanding.
John, you'll hit
back.
the adjourn button over there?
You got it?
Are we gonna?
We're gonna go take a lunch break and come
They
back?
wanted to-
12:30. Well, you'll come back at 1:15 or so, or? No, it can't be. About 1:30, I guess.
I don't want to stay too late.
We've got just one presentation. Well, we've got a few presentations, man.
Yeah, I have some, I just don't have how we might can work.
What do you wanna do?
We can work on that if you want
Okay.
to.
Wanna
I'll go drink
recess?
a lunch
So lunch break. Break lunch.
at 1:30.
Who's gonna make that motion?
I did. One more second. 1:30? All that's from local. Sounds good.
We're gonna let y'all do that, it looks like I've got a thing